And hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are here
Hello.
for
Hello.
our wonderful wrap up session that we've been trying to do for 3 weeks, but we don't talk about it.
It's fine.
It's
We're all
been
fine
3 weeks
here
in the
now.
making. We've been
Okay.
thinking about all of the wonderful lore to dump on you guys today.
I have
Daily,
been
why are
Not
you
gonna
lying
lie,
to the Daily? Why are
this
you
is
lying to the
not-
people?
This is not the first game that I've been in that we've stopped playing for whatever reason right before the wrap up session.
Yeah, no. We're finishing this shit if it kills us all.
Car, why are you mad at me?
And
Why
we
are
know
you
you're on your
mad
way,
at me?
Soul. That's your in DSA area is number 3 on the stop, so you got time. All right.
Where
So
the fuck are my keys?
as
Stay there.
as was things wrapped up last session with our party defeating and capturing the Black Spider and bringing him back to Phanduin with Gundren's brother. The party went about and just had
Okay, hold up. What is that? Hello? Help.
that's a daily.
Daily help. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, you saved me. No. Ah, not again.
Okay, we'll just let that sit for a hot minute. It's fine.
We'll wait for her to message us.
Yep, we'll give her just a little bit of time. But
Okay.
when we last left off, the party had just defeated and captured the Black Spider, bringing
We
him
all
back.
lined up in a line and punched him each once directly in the face.
Brought him back to Phanduin with
I don't think I
Gundren's
did.
still alive but unconscious brother, who is now in the process of recovering. After a long night of celebrating and just getting absolutely tanked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The plan's all coming together.
The party starts their tours heading south over the next few days to the city of, because I'm terrible at remembering the names, Lialon. So
Lylon?
Lylon, whatever the hell it's called.
It's weird. It's Elvish, I think. Anyways. Anytime someone asks me, wait, what? I'm like, it's Elvish, I think. What do you want from me?
So, after a few days' trip there, the party arrives, and X, if you would like to go about and describe your hometown.
Okay, Lylon is like, it's a town built around a road. There's a single large road, which is the main road through this section of countryside, right in the middle of town. And on one side of town is most of like the working places and like the dockyards and stuff. And then on the other side of town is this dense multi-storied network of Victorian style buildings with that kind of plaster lath and wood kind of look to it, and it's just cobbled together. At any time you're walking through the streets, there's always an overhang of some kind, and it's almost always raining. Uh, but the street food is immaculate, and the smell is just amazing on the street. Especially since Hallie, what time of day would we show up?
Let's see. Hitting the wrong buttons here. It would take about 3 1/3 day to get there on foot.
Okay, so it's the end of we're going with our cart, so it's about the same speed. So it's
Yeah,
like
so I'd say it's probably
the end of
about.
the day.
I'd say it's mid-afternoon.
Okay, let's just say it's like 3 o'clock.
That'll work.
It's kind of mid-afternoon and as you kind of step in, there's kind of a lot of heat out on the big road, but as soon as you step into the smaller alleyways, it's nice and cool, and there's this kind of sea breeze that blows through these alleys that really makes everything kind of
Also, I'm
got that
bringing
kind of
back
cool
Daly.
cutting-ness to it. And
Welcome back to the mic, Daly.
as I lead you
sorry,
through
my
this
connection.
place, I am giving you the full lowdown on every single restaurant in this place. Like, I point to a pastry shop and I say, "Don't go there; they're gonna scam you." I point to a cake shop and I say, "They have they have really good pastry tarts, but everything else is kind of trash." And
They're
I
gonna
point out
scam
to
you.
yeah, the rest is all a scam. But get their tarts, especially on Saturday, because that's when they get the peach ones, and those ones are really good. And then he's like, as he's walking, he's just pointing out each and every stall and giving you the lowdown on all of the food in this place. Just going ham and cheese on it. And then at a certain point, he kind of stops at the end and says, "That's the end of Food Row. What do you guys want for dinner?" There is anything you could want to eat here. We got fish, we got steak, we got chicken, we got pecorine, we've got well, there's like 12 different kinds of fish, but a lot of the fish stews are really good around here.
Elven ramen.
There's an elven ramen. We've got some really interesting pickled dishes out of the southern Sword Coast, and of course the Neverwinter special of just a real hearty fish stew. We got fried fish skewers right over there. They're pretty good, decent price, only a couple copper. We got alcohol. Y'all want to get drunk? Let's just hang out for a bit and then we'll go to my place.
Wait, you would let me get drunk? I thought you said I wasn't allowed alcohol.
Not you. I was talking to and points to Nessa and Grandma, who are both muted.
I don't know.
Looks
you
at
pick
them.
something.
You know what? I think you'd really like the fried shrimps. And I'm gonna walk over to a stall, and there's a bunch of popcorn shrimps on a skewer that have been fried with a red sauce and a white sauce on them.
As you look at Nessa and Grandma, who are slowly becoming cardboard.
Yep.
I'm here.
Okay. So I'm gonna. I pay the guy just.
My
it's
phone
like,
just wasn't next to me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But yes, let's get drunk. Let's get shit faced.
Okay, we're going to start with food because that makes the drinking better. And I'm going to get like a round of these skewers for everyone. And I'm just going to work myself from my 3 favorite stalls. And I'm going to get the fish, some popcorn fish skewers. I'm going to get what looks like a large tuber, like a potato, but longer and like purple colored. And it's filled with this rich, hearty chili. And there's cheese on top of it. It smells amazing. It's got this really buttery, chili, kind of peppery smell to it. And then I lead you. The third place I take you to is a place that makes there's this guy stretching out a piece of dough into really, really, really long soba noodles. And then he's got another guy who's like handing out soba to people. And I just buy each of us a little bit from each place and hand it to everyone. And we're going to start, and I'm going to take you into the actual buildings in there where there's a bunch of bars. There's like 3 separate bars in this town.
I want to learn how to stretch soba.
I do too. If I can learn that, I'm going to do it.
It's extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. You also need a lot of strength to do it in precision.
Oh, yeah.
So I turn to Nessa and I go, okay, you get the pick of the first bar. Do you want a dive bar, a farmer bar, or a weirdo bar?
Wait, you have 3 different kinds?
There's 3 different kinds of bars.
That's just exactly what the exactly one bar in my town is. It's all 3 of those.
That's fair. Do they kind of sit at different tables?
Nah, I mean, just everyone just kind of groups up at multiple different tables. Usually each table has a farmer, a weirdo, and an edgy person.
So like every party out there.
Here. They kind of split off and form their own clans here. It's kind of weird. What do you think?
You know what?
The dive bar is my usual
Dive bar
pick.
Dive bar sounds fantastic. Let's go there.
Bella's just gonna kind of like poke at your arm. Do you think your husband would want to join us?
And I stop and I kind of think for a minute, and then I think about the time. I think about it, I'm like, you know what?
Did you forget you
kind
were
of-
married again?
I just
Did you forget you were married?
no,
Again?
I didn't forget. I just it's been a while since I've been back in town, and I'm just
Well, how
yeah, I should.
to your place because and I point to Soul, are stuffed and about to go into a food coma. I can't drink on this, unfortunately. So I would like to.
I look at you guys and realize I bought the large portion for everyone.
And
I'm
we
like,
ate everything, and we were the ones who were like, "Oh, are you going to eat that?" And then we ate everything else that you couldn't finish. So we are both Soul and I are very much like nap time. It's time
Just
for
Bella was
nap time.
reasonable
Full.
just for the fact that like she knows how to eat what she needs type of thing. Try a little bit of things.
I like to imagine Bella's just kind of like turned down a bowl and like just had some from Goblin Slayers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
and we totally ate that. And then Gran totally had Soul like gave her money and got second. Like full on, like this is really good food. And Gran is like, I'm tired. I need to sleep. And she kind of is like leaning on Soul or Essence like nap time, right? And I could feel like she's patting her paw on my face, like yeah. So how about we go to your place? We can sleep and y'all can drink and party.
I just kind of look at everyone and go, well, he's probably at work right now. But sure, let's go. We'll go to my place and we'll wait for him to get home. And I am now going to take you guys on about like a 30-minute walk outside of town to what is a small little cabin on a hill right at the edge of the forest.
Just like to mention, on the way there, every once in a while, Gran just stops and kind of like leans on her staff, kind of falling asleep, and then somebody's like, "Gran, huh?" Oh, and then she keeps walking, and that's going on throughout.
We probably do have the cart with us still, right? We should probably
Yeah.
lock that up as well before we really go on the town. I got this out of order. I'm sorry, folks, but I did feed everyone. We're all in the cart. And now we're gonna drive.
I
out
was
to
just
town.
gonna say, Dan, do you need me to carry you on my back? Because I can do that.
We can put it in the
Also,
cart.
Essence has confirmed they are a trash can for food.
Oh,
Essence
she's
just
my granddaughter. Of course
obliterated
she
all
is.
of it. I love the idea that
Beautiful.
Essence just obliterated that entire thing and was still a little bit hungry.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Don't
And
worry, my husband will pack you full. There is nothing you can do.
I just love like you guys overeating, and then Bella's just there like quintessential healer character. Like, no, I'm going to like do the healthy thing and eat proportions in moderation.
Eats a reasonable amount of food. The rest of us, me, the tank, who literally has to because of how many calories he burns by walking.
And Grandma will look at
Nessa
Nessa.
only eats enough to make sure that she's not gonna get that hungover.
Don't worry, we'll drink when we get to my place. There's champagne. I almost guarantee it. As we
Champagne.
roll up on the cart, you see a two-story building that is like made out of logs. It's like just a log cabin all stacked up, and there's like a kind of how do I describe this? It's like 2 stories, and it's got this one story is kind of half into the building, and there's like a bunch of windows on the west facing side of the building, on the west hand side, which is like would be the right hand side of the building. And on the front there's like these 2 windows right on either side of the door that are nice and big. And to the left of this building is what looks to be an open air forge with just a large like fabric canvas covering over top of it to keep the rain off and stuff. and the forge is actually currently dead. Like it's cold and it's not being used. It's everything is in its place, so help me God. And we kind of approach, and you can look into one of the big windows
Are
and
you
you
talking about like?
see
Are you talking about like Wasabli levels of everything as its place and everything in its place?
every place has its thing and everything has its place. If it doesn't
Wait.
belong there, it shouldn't be there.
Is
He's
it dead,
obsessed with it.
stone cold dead, or dead as in like it's just
It has
Dead
been
as in it
used.
hasn't been used in a couple weeks. Like
Okay.
it is cold and
that was
not
my
not
question, because even if
sorry.
they're not used, forges should never die. Especially in like a medieval time like this, not like nowadays where we have gas to heat up. Forges should never die, because if they die, it takes a lot to get them back up to a proper temp.
Yeah.
So it's probably like
But
embers and stuff like
it's
that.
not dead. So I didn't mean like I meant like you can't tell it's on it's been you can tell it hasn't been used for like a week.
That would mean it's dead, and it would just take you a while to build it back up.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to build it up back when I get back. I probably guessed the money was worth it. But I also have Lava Boy, which is going to help. So I get back, and you also see that there's these very beautiful like wooden shutters on the windows that we close whenever there's like a storm coming, and they look very like well made, and like everything is very neat and cleanly cut, and all of the lumber and stuff looks like it was made by an artisan. There's this beautiful plaque on the front of it that says "Slay and Cake," bakery and forge.
I love that.
It's the Slay and Cake.
Please tell me you someday will open up. Please tell me you will someday open up a bakery title.
I mean, that's where I live.
What was that so much?
I kind of open it up and I step in, and there's this.
You are breaking up there, Daily.
Bye, Daily.
Beep, boo, boo, beep.
Save her.
It's only so much I can do remotely, mate.
Yeah. So I step up to the door, and there's also a mat on the floor that looks like it's made of like it's like a metal mat. This is like a mat that's for like scrubbing off boots, but it's one of those metal ones that's like a bunch of crossbars all welded together. And it's just sitting on the floor, and it says "Welcome" on it. I just riveted the letters "Welcome" onto this mat, and I just walk up to the door and upset, like kind of like a habitually scrub the bottom of my feet off, unlock the door, and kind of look inside. After I look inside, I kind of stop, and then I look at all of you and say, like, okay, you guys want to come in? There's not a lot of space for, there's not a lot of beds, but we got a lot of big, heavy blankets and stuff.
Gran is completely passed out on Nessa's back. She is out light, sleeping on Nessa's back, because she took her up on that offer that, yeah, she sent her stuff in her back and climbed Nessa and just was out.
Yeah, we got a couch.
I didn't hear if you said there was a sofa. Is there a sofa?
We haven't gone inside yet, but yeah. Okay, you guys step inside and
past Goblin Player and put Gran on the sofa.
Okay, you step inside, and directly in front of you, there's this big open, like really high ceilinged room directly in front of you, and there's this large, like three couches making kind of like a couch circle to the right around what looks to be a fire pit. And it's if you look up, there's a big like metal chimney in the roof. There's also you just kind of dump Gran on one of the couches. It's a very soft,
Really?
comfortable leather couch.
But Gran, her arms are staying like they're still holding on to Nessa, like still staying in the air until I would assume at that point, Essence, the food coma probably has hit her at this point, and she's like, I'm gonna crawl in. She crawls in and snuggles Gran as they both just sleep on the couch, as the cats that they are who snuggle up.
I walk over to the couch and I like grab onto a lever and yank it, and the couch opens up. Like it lays back like a lazy boy.
And full on, just think of like your grandma holding you in her rocker is how she is holding
Oh yeah, super comfy looking.
that photo plus like my two cats when they curl up together to go to sleep. It's like a mixture of
And I go over to what you see is a large, like a bar counter, but you realize this is where the kitchen begins, and the kitchen is still very open to the rest of the building, and you could actually just walk right into it. And there's this island with a sink, and you can
Love
see
open layouts
a
like
bunch
that.
of cabinets up on the wall, and a large ice box made out of metal.
Hey, X, pick
With
a
a heavy
number
latch.
1 through 3.
2.
2. All right. The drink you have in stock at the moment is some Pewmine.
Remind me what Pewmine is.
It is a halfwing made spiced wine made.
Oh yeah, it's the good shit that my boyfriend husband gets. And he probably has a lot of it, and I know which bottles I'm allowed to have and which ones are definitely not yet. Like we are reserving these for a special occasion. Actually, no, Helly, I bring down one special occasion bottle and set it on the counter and say, "Don't touch that." And then I walk over and I grab 2 of the everyday occasion ones, pull them out, and I set it down. I'm like, that's for later. We'll drink it. We'll drink that one, but these 2 are for us. And then I walk over to a counter and to one of the upper cabinets, open it up, and you can see a wide array of glasses just filling this entire counter. Like there is every type of alcohol glass you can imagine. And I'm just going to reach up and grab a bunch of wine glasses down and close the doors and kind of like look in the fridge and look in the ice box, realize that there's barely anything in there, which means my husband's probably going to buy something on the way home. And I just close it and go, I should have told him we're coming back. He'll have plenty though. He always does. And I'm just going to set out the wine glasses. And there's one for everyone, even Bella, but I'm just going to give Bella a little tiny bit because this is not very alcoholic, but this is important.
You might want to cut it with a little bit of water.
I cut it with some juice that I have in the fridge.
Beautiful.
I just give Bella a little splash and I give Essence a little splash. And I set Grandma and Essence's out on the little coffee table in the middle so that they can see them when they wake up. And I walk back to the other 2. I hand them their glasses and I go, a toast to new friends and old love.
And new family.
Also, X, I've determined what the quote-unquote good stuff bottle is.
I mean, I was thinking it was like a really expensive wine, but yeah, what is
it? It is Elven Midsummer wine.
Oh, it's that good.
The good shit.
It's the stuff that'll wake you up in the morning and put you to sleep at night.
It's the stuff that you're supposed to drink on your honeymoon, except like you, for some reason, never fucking took one.
A delicacy made from
what your husband wanted.
Yeah,
a delicacy made from berries in aged oaken casks for at least a century.
Yeah.
It was supposed to, after they missed it on their honeymoon, it was supposed to be for their first year anniversary. But
and
then that was missed.
Like, okay, well, we'll do it for the second. Okay, well, we missed it. We'll just go to the 5th, and so on and so forth.
It is now going to be one of those things where I got it down and set it down because Slayer knows exactly what this bottle of wine is now. he understands why he's not allowed to what it actually means. Because for the first
it's
time
that
in his
good
life,
shit.
he's realized it.
Does he
It's that
actually
good
remember
shit.
what is?
The dishes. What's that? Are you willing to put away the dishes once the washer's done?
Once the washer's done, yeah.
Yeah, I just put it in, so
Okay.
check it.
All right. Sorry about that, folks.
So now the
I got-
question is, does Slayer actually remember when his wedding anniversary is?
He does. He knows because he remembers the day that he signed the paperwork for it.
Okay, we're signing this paper. I don't know what it's for, but I'm gonna trust you.
He knew what the paper was. Like he thought that he and his husband are not quote unquote married. They are in a civic partnership. So
just
he
didn't
was
realize-
just
That.
his
It
brain
also
didn't
mean that
process
was
it.
married.
His brain didn't process it. He's also very
Make sure everyone gets everything. Those kind of things.
Slayer finally overcame his crippling obsession with his own death. So he's kind of alive for the first time in a very long time.
Little emotionally stunted. We're
he-
working on it.
he
He
can't-
needs to adopt
he-
a little girl.
So, X. Slayer came over his traumatic experience with death by having another close to traumatic experience with death.
Yeah, but I had a close to traumatic experience with death mixed with the realization that I am loved and the sudden responsibility of realizing how much he would hate himself if he let Belladonna live without him. Like it's like, no, all of these things never
he
again.
adopted a little girl. He needs to live for her. Now he has a reason.
He also
So that
suddenly
you saw Gran die in front of you after
Yeah,
seeing everything she
and so he was also thinking, I have now 2 kids. I have a husband that loves me, and I'm out here fighting a
who's your
dragon.
Who's your second kid?
Essence, I'm adopting Essence if Grandma dies. That's what's going to happen.
Oh,
She's
no,
my
no, no.
child now.
No. Gran has everything planned out. Don't
I'm
worry
sure
about
she
it.
does. I'm sure she does, but Goblin Slayer didn't know that. So
I'm
you
about to
guys,
say, you may have everything played out. Are you going to stop him?
you can. I
Come
mean,
back from the grave and
that's true.
Like,
He's not gonna stop him.
stop. You have things planned.
Oh,
Stop.
I love
I'm gonna become a patron and send all my, or I'm gonna become like a, and send all my patrons after you. So let's not.
Okay. I love it. So Goblin Slayer gives you all the wine and then says, I gotta go change, and if you guys want like a bath or something, there's a running water bath over there. The water only stays hot for a while and only if the forge is still lit, which I walk over to the side door down a little hallway on the edge of the kitchen, open up the door and look outside, close the door and look at them and go, it's not lit anymore. And I'm going to go and I'm just going to like walk back and I can just kind of open a door and I'm like, in here there's a bunch of bedding and stuff in the storage room. You guys can come get it if you want. We've got lots of stuff for whenever we have our friends hang out with us or when we have his. There are my friends too, aren't they?
Probably.
God damn, what is fucking wrong with me? She just starts walking up, which in the entrance to this building, there's a large staircase that goes up the left wall, up to the second floor, which has a second floor balcony with a door and a door on the corner leading to the left and a door leading straight in. And there's another window up there with a very large, what looks to be crocheted plant. Like
Ah,
The whole plant is crocheted.
The whole plant is crochet and wire. And it
That's
appears to be
impressive.
like a very big like sun blossom. It's like got a big yellow blossom petals with red, and it's got this kind of long it's got a long stamen like middle part with big poofs on it, and it's just this beautiful tropical feather just about the same size as Goblin Slayer. It's just kind of looking down over this balcony, and it's fully crocheted.
I've seen I actually did a project like that. They're hard.
Yeah, it's hard, and It's a very nice one. If grandma saw it, she would know the true quality of it. It's a good one. As I walk up and I turn left, open the door and close it behind me. After about how long does it take me to take off heavy armor, Helly?
I believe it's like I think it's 30 minutes. By your heavy armor
But I do
mattress,
it
I
in
think
like
it's
half the
5.
time.
Let me
so
check
I-
real quick.
By the way, side note, with a 28 stealth, Grandma takes essence drink, pours it in hers, and drinks it, and then goes back to sleep.
Well, you're gonna have to drink yours first because he filled yours all the way up.
Okay, well, that's what
Because
Gran
he
does.
knows how grandma likes to drink.
Slayer,
both
do
glasses.
you have like an oil rag and a whetstone I can use? I should probably touch up my sword before I get home, or else Dad's not gonna be very happy.
Hi, Core. How you doing? Heavy armor takes
yes,
5 minutes to doff.
Wait,
to
wait,
Yeah,
wait.
it's
doff.
5
Is this a
minutes.
big core or is this a little core?
This is your core.
Okay.
This is
So I'm
PCG
going
core.
to. Yeah,
This is baby core. Hi, baby
I-
core.
I imagine Bella like walked up the stairs and knocked on the door while I was changing, and he just goes, out the door, second workbench on the left, third drawer from the top on the left hand side.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Use it carefully.
I know.
It's
Hey.
heavy.
Hi, Gray.
Bella's gonna go follow his instructions to find whetstone, oil rag, and all that stuff.
So
and just
you
kinda,
open the drawer, and inside the drawer is partitioned, and in each partition is a different piece of this. There's a partition that just has a whole bunch of oil rags soaking in a metal bin that's barely fits in the partition and has a lid on it. You kind of open it up, and it's got oil in it. And you can see that there's 3 different grades of whetstones, and then like 3 leather strops as well.
Cool. I actually know what I'm talking about with this shit. So Bella's just gonna. Are they like actively actively soaking whetstones, or?
All of them are soaking. Yeah, they're like in metal bins, and there's oil soaking the oil stones, but there's also water stones that are not soaking because sometimes you want to use the dry stone. Well,
Yes.
not dry, but a drier stone.
Yeah, Bella's just gonna take the largest grit of the whetstones, kind of sit cross-legged on the ground, and just start working on getting the big kinks out of her stone or out of her sword. It'll take her a while, but just kind of slowly work up. And she's in her own little world. Like,
Cleaning
I
it out.
assume she's just kind of like sitting crisscross against a work table, so you can't really see her if you first walk into this area. You can just hear it.
Shing, shing, shing.
With a sword of her size, and how long has she been on this journey?
About a
It's
week
been a
and a
few
half.
weeks.
Couple weeks actually.
a
Yeah.
few weeks. She's been in a bunch of battles where she hasn't taken time to sit and hone her sword.
It's looking kind of battered.
It's looking kind of bad. So it's gonna be like a couple hours before like she stops, unless someone comes and gets her.
Goblin Slayer opens the door after about 5 minutes. I imagine Nessa has had 2 drinks now, waiting for Slayer to change
Probably.
out of his armor.
Oh, and Bella's
Probably
drink
we
is
do.
like sitting
Yeah.
next to her. She's taken maybe half a sip before she went into like full ADHD focus mode.
Yeah, obsessive focus mode. I like it.
Also,
You know,
I've done
actually-
some math. In total travel time, in just movement, not including rests or anything, it has been 22 days of travel.
Wow, it's been a
No, I
month.
was just,
It's
I
been
was
at
just
least a
thinking.
month since I've been here.
Yes.
I was just thinking, Nessa seeing Bella sharpening her sword is just gonna watch her and kind of like copy the motions to sharpen her own sword, but she realized she's probably haven't sharpened in a while.
Yeah.
Or ever.
I imagine
Or
like
ever.
Nessa goes over and says, "Hey, where'd you get?" And then Bella just points to the drawer.
And Nessa, like, I imagine Nessa doesn't exactly know what she's doing, sharpening her sword, so she grabs like
Probably not.
the finest grit, and Bella's just like, no, Nessa, would you like me to sharpen your sword? That's not how you do it. Your angle's wrong. That's the wrong grit.
You want to show me how to do it?
Yeah. Okay. So do you see how like, and I'm just gonna hold out my stone to her. Do you see how like on my stone, like it's got really big pockets in it, and you can like kind of see the texture on the stone and how it has a lot more
Oh.
texture than your stone.
Yeah.
So this is a heavy grit. This is where you want to start. This is what's gonna take out all those like big nicks and dents in your stone and your sword, and it's gonna also kind of help hone it. So you want to just run this smoothly in one pass against the whole of your blade at a 45-degree angle. And then after you get all those big nicks out, we're going to go to, and Bella's going to point to the stone soaking that's like in between the two stones. You want to go to that one and pass that a couple times. Still keep the 45. And then we're going to go to the one you're holding, which is the smallest. That's going to be our fine tuning of how sharp your blade is. And then after that, we're going to
be
take one of these.
continued. 10 minutes of explaining this to Nessa, and she is starting to get it.
We're
This
going
is
to take
full
one
on
of these
training mode.
leather
What happens
straps
is-
here. And we're going to run this a couple times across our blade. And you still want to keep that 45. Remember, 45 is important. And like,
What's 45 degrees?
Goblin Slayer at this point steps out of the door because the only two guests that are currently awake that he knows of, because Grandma's being sneaky, are Nessa and Bella. But Grandma, do you want to be the first person to see my outfit?
Oh
I
my
think
gosh, are you
sure,
wearing a
like,
kiss apron?
Grandma will probably like hear you coming down the stairs because cat
Are you
ear.
wearing a kiss apron?
Yeah. She kind of like opens her eyes a little bit and will look for a
Goblin
moment.
Slayer is wearing a custom made suit that has like, it barely fits him still. As you can see, he is very he in the armor, out of the armor, he is still a very large man.
so
And
wait,
this
are we going
suit,
to actually know what he looks like now?
Oh,
We
no,
have
he's
no-
taken off his helmet before.
he's taken off his helmet before,
That
but
is
now
true.
he's like cleaned up and he's dressed nice.
And you just hear
also-
Grandma mutter, I need to stop eating cheese before I go to sleep. I get the weirdest dreams. And closes her eyes so fast. She's like, things are not adding up. And she's like, no more cheese before bed. That gives you the crazy dreams. Like, goes back to sleep.
Also, real quick,
Goblin Slayer,
welcome
you
in
cleaned
Soul.
up. Nice.
Hi.
Hey.
I've just been eating. Don't mind me.
Hey, you're good. I just wanted to acknowledge your existence.
Say
when
hello.
you come into like where we are, Slayer, like Bella's kind of in the middle of explaining like what the oil rags are for and how to use those. And Nessa's just like extremely confused.
Does he come in before or after Nessa asks what a 45-degree angle is? Because you realize you grew up
That's
in
a good
Oakridge.
point.
She grew up. She didn't have a traditional school. She learned on the farm.
Same with Bella,
The
but
only
her
reason she
father's a
knows what
soldier.
to do- True. The only reason she knows what to do with a sword is because of militia. But then again, those guys weren't professionally trained either.
Yeah, Bella's teaching was not formalized either, but her father was a soldier.
Her father knew what he was
Her
doing.
father was a soldier. He knew this shit.
Bella
It was drilled into him
Nessa
for hours.
has no idea. Nessa is
So
just
yeah,
completely lost.
does Slayer come in while Nessa's like, what is 45 degrees?
Yes.
What is a degree, and why is it 45? Why is that number important?
Okay, I don't know how to explain this. Okay, Do you see how like the table leg and the square or in the floor when they meet they kind of look like a square corner?
Yeah.
So at this point, Goblin Slayer opens the door. Now, Grandma, you saw Goblin Slayer. He's a broad man filling out, and he's wearing a long a long purple turtleneck that looks like it was crocheted. It's a very finely crocheted pattern on it of hearts, and it's purple. It's like this rich, almost royal purple. He is wearing uh, a black suit with blue trim and a very nice like all of it perfectly tailored, all and the way it's tailored makes you think that the person who made it for him loves him very much.
Yeah, and that's why Grandma thought she was dreaming. She's like, yeah, no
He
more
has
dairy.
also shaved. He actually is clean shaven again because as he was out there, he was getting a beard, and so when you guys finally saw him, he actually kind of had like scruff and then a beard for a little bit, like an almost full beard. And he comes back down fully clean shaven. He's got his hair slicked, kind of like fluffed up and then slicked back a bit. So it's got kind of like almost a pompadour look to him. It's a little bit goofy, but the sides of his head are now shaved completely clean. And you can see a number of scars along his neck and a relatively large scar that was under his hairline before that is on the back of his head.
There's also the burn runes of the band of the Tech Thoughts.
Oh yes, those are all the way. So he literally has a crown of ancient magical symbols burned into his forehead now, and it's a very recent scar too. Like it's almost like the scabbing only came off a few days ago, and it's like that really bright white, and there's no hair where those runes were, and he's also shaved it completely clean. So it's like this really stark contrast. He's also wearing a pair of glasses, just a pair of kind of like squared off, like larger squared off glasses that affixed just kind of like sit on his face. He kind of walks down, looks at Grandma and Essence, assumes they're both still asleep, walks out the door, and
Oh no, you
steps
hear
up.
Grandma say it. She says it out loud. I need to stop eating dairy before I go to sleep and cheese. It gets weirdest dreams and goes back to sleep. So you hear her say that.
He kind of looks at. He hears you say that and just basically goes, "That okay? That tracks. That tracks," and just starts walking around to out to his shop. As Essence is like starting to show Nessa the 45 degrees, Goblin Slayer just comes up right behind
You
Nessa.
mean Bella?
And right behind Nessa, who's I assume that Bella was. Oh, did I say Essence instead of Bella?
Yes.
I'm a moron.
Yes.
But yes, no. Bella's trying to teach Nessa. He just walks right up behind Nessa, and just reaches his hands forward and puts her hands into the correct position, and he just says, "It feels like this."
That that's probably a better way to do it. I
So
never
a
had to
half
teach
corner.
this.
Exactly,
A
half corner. And you hold it like this, and you pull back, move your elbows out a little bit more, and then you just all the way along. Yeah, there you go. And he just starts teaching her how to make this, how to perfectly sharpen this blade
You know what?
in the way that he knows she likes, because he feels it
What am I
too.
rolling?
Bella
Roll
thinks
me
it.
performance
He feels
with
it.
Okay,
advantage.
fuck, where did I put my dice?
Bella
I
knows
didn't
it
realize I
from
need my dice today.
years of watching her father and
Explain
just
it to her,
years
yeah.
of watching her father do it, listening to him explain it, and just doing it. Like she had to sit and learn this from a very young age, where Slayer, it's like
Performance is a
intuitive.
charisma
He
modifier,
just
right?
knows.
Yes.
Yeah. Slayer
Okay, so I have a
feels it.
+3 to my-
Something that's just perfectly aligned
a
with his
16.
essence.
Which is
Were they
16.
16? All right, with a 16, you get that sword looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's
This
got
is
that.
the best my sword's ever looked.
It's got that nice
It's-
battle sharpness to it, so it's not like razor sharp, but it's perfect for if you're gonna hit something with it. So it'll last longer.
It doesn't look as good as when it was pulled out of the Spellforge, but it looks pretty nice. When it was pulled out of Spellforge,
And-
it had that nice little shimmer to it.
I'm
Wait, this
Ellie.
sword's from the Spellforge?
It's been in the Spells Forge. It isn't anymore. You put it.
You-
I put it in there and then gave it back to you.
That's why you had a +1
Oh.
during our last combat.
Yeah, I forgot that you put my sword in there.
I'm gonna go over to I'm by the way carrying in my right hand. I was carrying in my right hand when I came down the stairs. Just all of my armor in its kind of armor pack that I have for it. And I just walked out. I set it down, and now I like pick it up and walk over to my bench, and I start just deep cleaning and assessing my armor.
It's pretty ragged.
Yeah, it's looking rough. There's some solid dents in that plate, and there are some holes in the under armor. There's a lot of blood in this. There's a lot of
It took
blood.
a
in there.
beating.
Yeah.
So much blood.
It's never too much butter. What are you talking about?
And by the way,
I
anytime
didn't think
Bella
I
like
said that loud. I'm sorry.
anytime Bella like needs
Making
something for
cookies.
sharpening her
Leave me
sword
alone.
or starts working on her armor, he's like just tells her exactly where it is. Anyone that wants to use his forge, as long as he's there, he tells you exactly where things are, and then if he sees you struggling, he goes over and he's gonna help you, but he's focused on his armor.
Oh my gosh, he's in such big brother mode right now. It's so cute.
This is how he lives his life. This is when he's not stressed and fighting goblins and has finally realized his life is worth something.
Bella is just kind of.
Big
It's
brother
great. Is Bella is just like working next to him. Occasionally, it's like the question because she doesn't know her armor care as well as she knows like her sword and shield care. But like they're just like very quietly, very obviously focused.
Nessa is pestering with questions like, hey, what do I do with this? Hey, what does this do? I don't know what this is. What's this?
And
What's
he
this? What's
gives you an
this?
answer
There's
every
other-
time. The first thing you point to, he looks at it, he's like, oh, that's a vice I bought off a dwarf. It helps you clamp things together so you can hammer them with steel. And then he goes back to doing like polishing a piece of armor, and then you're like, what's this? And you hold up like a weird set of tongs. I'm like, those tongs. He just kind of turns to like, those are my tongs for my brass pot. I have the brass pot's up there. If you want to do jewel making, be my guest. And then it kind of like turns back and keeps going. He's like still polishing that same piece, and Nessa like holds up.
Keeps interrupting him.
Yeah, just picks up holds up a pair of gloves, and he's like, "Those are my forge gloves. They're a lot better at handling the heat than my armor gloves." And just looks back and keeps going. What else do you pick up, Nessa? What kind of weird shit do you want to pick up that you think would be in my shop?
I don't know what would be in a forge, so I have no idea.
like a random hammer.
About the really strange looking blacksmith hammer.
And Helly, at this moment, I
pulled a
realized I have a pet
hammer.
salamander. Helly, it's at
Yes.
this moment that I'm thinking about, like, I'm trying to think of any way to leave this situation. And I'm like, wait, I have my salamander. I'm like, and I stop, I turn to Nessa, I put my hand on her mouth for the next question, and I say, I am going to go get my salamander to light the forge. If you have any more questions, I want you to start writing them down, and I'll get to them later. And he just walks through the door.
Nessa mutters as he leaves.
He, by the way, when he says writing them
Damn,
down,
you
he
should be
points.
lucky you know how to write.
Yeah, every time when he says writing it down, he points, and you see there's like a shelf on one of these workbenches against a wall, and there's just a couple little tiny containers, and in those containers you see there's a bunch of notepads stacked up, and there's a bunch of pencils.
Again, Nessa's like, you're damn lucky you know how to write.
Alright, and it's just like as he like kind of walks out to go set up the forge with his, it's like I'm leaving Nessa at my forge. At least Bella's there.
Yeah, he's moving fast.
Nessa's not gonna do anything reckless. She just wanted to know what all the stuff was.
Also,
because she's never
also the
actually
It's-
forge
it's-
isn't lit. The forge isn't lit, so nothing in the forge is hot, which is 90% of the danger in the forge.
It's not so much that she will do something reckless,
Yeah.
but leaving someone in your workspace
It's gonna get
doesn't
disorganized
understand-
in about
who
5
doesn't
seconds.
understand. Yeah. So like
Yeah,
Bella is
very
safe
good.
because she understands what most of this
Oh, yeah.
is. Nessa doesn't, so she's gonna misplace
Yeah.
things or touch things that she probably shouldn't.
That's why
Get
he's
oil
moving
on things she shouldn't. And it's mostly just accident stuff that isn't really a big deal.
Actually,
It's just
as
annoying
he's
to
leaving,
fix.
he like stops next to Belladonna and looks her in the eyes and says, "You're the only one who understands this place right now. I need you to keep an eye on that one in
You're in
case
charge.
it's causing a problem. You're in
You're
charge."
in
I'll-
charge.
And then I just step
Okay.
up and I walk out. He knows Bella's gonna be okay. It might be a little bit. At least going to keep it organized again.
It won't.
Has
Yeah,
a good mind.
nothing
Accurate.
will burn down.
And Helly, I'm gonna go out and I'm going to grab my my heavy forge gloves before I go, and I'm just gonna walk up and grab, still in my suit by the way, grab the pot, pick it up, and walk all the way back into the forge, set it down, open it up, grab my little guy, and just toss him into the forge itself, and just shovel coal onto him.
All you see him
Claire,
having
you
just
see
the
back
time
in
of
the-
his life.
Oh, he is. I have a coal silo. Because this was a forge that I made things for people in town all the time, and I had to go out of town for 30 days. I was ready for when I came back.
This little man is in heaven.
I am shoveling good quality, just the best coal for this forge. I get a nice high heaping pile on, and then I just lean in and I try to give him. I think I was trying to command him to be cold. I'm going to give him a different command and see if he gets it.
Okay. Roll me
I'm trying to
animal
get him
handling.
to heat up. Yeah, I'm going to try and get him to heat up just here at the end. That's a 19 plus something.
I mean, at 19 is gonna get you're good.
Yes. I teach him that this is you. When I say this, you heat up.
he starts getting real nice and warm, and is just rolling in those coals like a happy dog.
I like to imagine he like burrows under them and just lays at the bottom. It's just like happy dog noises.
Yeah, he burrows and is just kind of just rolling around in the coals.
Okay. So yeah. So I get the forge started with him, and then at about this time, I kind of look down. I'm not messy. I'm very careful with my work, so I don't get the suit messy, because I would kill. My husband would kill me. And then I kind of like walk over to the front of the house as I see him walking up the trail. And I go back inside, I grab the bottle, and I stand outside the door. I don't mention this to anybody. I just stand outside the door. If anyone wants to follow me or sneak a peek at what's going on here.
You just hear Grandma in the background all of a sudden start snoring really loud.
And that's when Essence wakes up because it's like, oh Lord, she's loud right now.
Bella's 100% in her own world. Like she's fixing her stuff. She's in her own world.
Slayer closes the shutters.
And they just kind of rattle just a little bit, but it muffles the noise.
Yeah, it won't be enough to ruin this moment.
It's a mix of Grandma snoring, Nessa asking a whole bunch of questions, Bella doing her thing, and I'm just like, okay, there's too much noise. I'm up now. And I see that there was a small
Over.
dish for me, but it's empty.
You also would have noticed that I closed the shutters because it does take like a minute.
And you're in
Right.
different clothes.
And I am in different clothes. You would see that too. Also, by the way, I'm wearing like really like those flowy like silk pants that are that like floof out like Aladdin pants.
Those are nice
I'm wearing
pants.
those, but I'm wearing those, but like a purple. Anyways, it's a suit. It's something. It was a gift from my husband. As my husband walks up, you see
Harlem
a
pants. I think you're talking about
Harlem
Harlem
pants.
pants.
Yeah, Harlem pants.
Yep.
You see my husband. He is a 7 foot tall orc. He has no tusks. Well, he did have tusks, but they are no longer there. Um, he's got kind of like this. He's got like this orangish red hair, and he's got a chef's hat on over top of it, and it's a just kind of like a short, flat topped chef's hat. And then he's wearing a barely fitting uh, white chef's uniform that is absolutely immaculate. Like there's not a speck of dirt on it, and he's walking up a dirty trail. He's kind of got like his hair is like this reddish orange. It's like really long and like kind of curly, so it's got kind of poofing out the
It's
back
magical.
of
And
yeah. It's like it's just curly and long and bright orange basically, and it's like curling out from underneath his cap. As he walks up, he sees Goblin Slayer, and if nobody's going to be here, I'm not going to tell you what happens.
Essence is just kind of watching what's going on, but she's like, "This is might be a private moment, but I'll watch." But that's about it.
Uh, well, his husband rushes up to him. They say a few things. Goblin Slayer kind of like does that thing where he like someone's feeling kind of bad about something they did because he puts his hand up on the back of his head and starts scratching the back of his head. And the husband just kind of like crosses his arms and stands there looking very suddenly very scary. Something about him has changed. He looks like he's about to kill somebody.
Does Slayer admit that he's adopted 2 little girls?
Well,
Yeah, just one.
well,
Just one.
Well, you
maybe
don't know
not.
what's going on.
You
You're
don't
not
know
there.
what he's saying. You don't know what he's saying, but he's just kind of like rubbing the back of his head and like looks up at his husband who is glaring daggers down at him.
no
And
one's
then
close
just-
enough to hear, so all we got is what's happening and visually that
Wah, wah,
Yep.
wah,
Essence can see.
wah, 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 wah.
Yeah,
It seems like
and
the only
you
one who's
watch-
paying attention is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essence, you watch as
It's all been
his
for the private
husband.
moment, so Nessa saw him walk out and be like, he probably needs some space.
So he just like his husband after a few seconds of just glaring at him, just sighs like this big like lets all of everything out like just like finally this dumbass. And he
Like,
just
he's in a
like
relationship.
sighs
How?
and then just like kind of stands up and like puts his hair into a bun with a cord that was wrapped around his wrist, grabs Goblin Slayer on the face and just absolutely destroys it. Complete makeout session on the front porch.
Essence is just gonna do a cat call because it's like, hey, why not?
You cat call and he immediately just like whoa, and they like both like break apart and look, and his husband like looks at Goblin Slayer's like. It just kind of like is like I also kind of invited some friends. They're part of the party that I just want you to meet them. It's like one of those like your husband. Can you please not?
That is coming through, Daily.
Jesus Christ.
That's the crowd cheering for the makeout session.
Yeah, it's a great makeout. The crowd
She
sounds
just hears her
like
start catcalling. She says, "Woo!" in her sleep, like, "Yeah, what are you here for?" And goes back. She's
yeah, and so like they kind of like both like do the what's going on like the kind of like awkward moment, and then the wait, you brought people here, and then Goblin Slayer tells him at this point you can pretty much tell just by Goblin Slayer's body language what he's saying at this point, as he tells him about that you guys are his party, and then they kind of like have a little bit of conversation about that, and then his husband like pulls a backpack that you didn't really notice he was wearing because it's like it was kind of hiding behind his shoulders, but he pulls it around, and it's the size of Goblin Slayer's chest.
All the food, isn't it?
It
Just
is.
food.
It is full of. You see a whole bunch of food sticking out of it, and Goblin Slayer just big smile at him. And at this point, they just kind of go in for like a quick kiss, and then Goblin Slayer opens up the door and says, "Okay, Grandma, wake up. We're gonna open the good stuff now.
And she goes, huh? And she starts coughing again.
Wake
Oh.
up. Come on."
And when she does that, she's like, oh, hang on, what? She's awake, and she looks and she goes, so that was, she looks at you first and goes, so that wasn't a dream. Okay, I apologize.
Time to
And then
meet
she
my
looks
husband.
at
Come
her
on.
husband and is like, ooh, have you ever thought about modeling, honey? And she kind of like takes her back. She doesn't pull it out, but she looks at her romance novel and realizes that this man could be on one of these romance novels she reads.
Yeah, he is built like a he is built like a strength trainer. Like he is full like solid he's not like very cut, but he's super solid and his outfit is tight. Have you ever seen Chef
You
Rush?
know what I just realized?
Mm-hmm.
Muscle Chef Man? It's not as much as that, but he is taller and wider than that man. So he's like full
I was gonna
unit
say,
of a man.
Nan is just the old lady version of Kakashi.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
And he just
Hey.
kind of like looks at Grandma and just like holds out his hand and said, "Have you read what was it called? Tusk Love?"
Yes, I read that. Yes, she read it, and then she recently read the what Runaway Heart or whatever from the side episode. And she
Real quick, I'm gonna put a just real quick pause here just because we're not in the right voice channel for stream, so I'm gonna just quickly pull everybody down to the right one.
Yep.
Hey, if it moved.
Not because that was a thing. It's easier just to drag everybody down here than to adjust the overlay. So fight me.
Pretty good. He's like, as you're kind of like talking, he just nods, and then Goblin Slayer says, "We don't have a Grandma. Please, one moment. Let's get everybody here. I want you all to meet my husband." And like you notice that every time he says husband, like his husband literally does that kind of like fluttered the eyelash and like looks away, like, oh, he's talking about me.
Oh, the idiot finally recognizes me.
He's so happy about it. As I pull open,
Bella's still like, all of this is going on. I don't know if Nessa went over yet. Bella's still in her own little world. She has no fucking clue what's going on. Like, she is not aware that someone else has shown up yet. There's a big dent in her shield that she's determined to get out.
Goblin Slayer kind of like looks back, hears the hammering and goes, one moment, and like steps out and walks out into the forge area and like opens up the door and just puts 2 fingers in his mouth and whistles. Like a full-on like horse whistle.
Look at the size of this dent! I can't get it out!
He's gonna walk up, look at it, and say, "Honey, you're hammering annealed steel. You need to heat it back up again." We can do that. I can do that. I'll show you how to do that. Let's come meet my husband.
Hey, wait. If you're like my big brother, what does that make him? Is he like my brother-in-law?
Sure, that works for me.
Bella is just gonna dart out, stop real quick, look around to try to spot him, sees him, and just runs full fucking tilt and just gives him like a massive fucking hug.
I like to imagine she full on like football tackles him in full armor and he tanks it immediately. He just takes it like he's like, "Who is this adorable child? Hello, darling. How are you?"
Here. You know, we'll see how well the man handles the chart. You know what? He succeeds that one.
I was gonna say, how big is this dude?
7 foot.
Yeah, he's 7 foot and he has a strength. He has a strength of 19.
Bella's
Hey.
5'1" in her healed combat boots.
Yeah,
Well,
Like,
even
her
suit of armor.
healed
What about-
armor boots. She barely
Well, again,
reaches
it's-
5'1".
well, again, it's not necessarily a matter of height, but it's a matter of how quickly you're running at him and how much weight you have
Yeah,
on
and
you.
how
Like-
much weight he can handle.
It's
He's
like
a big boy though.
He is.
You
almost
do
like
tackle
this,
hug
like,
him.
little pixie looking thing.
Yeah.
Almost. Just like full body tackles. Straight up Minotaur.
Yeah.
Like you
Well,
no fucking clue what's
an
going
orc,
on.
but yes.
And he's just like, what is this? There's a child hugging
Who is
me.
this delightful child?
Who is this child?
And he just like reaches down, like grabs the side of your helmet, just gently like tilts you up and says, "Hello, darling. My name is Gorbok. Who are you?"
I'm Belladonna, but everyone just calls me Bella. Well, this group does. They don't really at home. Anyway, I'm the healer. I'm the one that kept Slayer alive because he's kind of a dumbass and doesn't know when not to die. Like, oh, I gotta tell you, this one time we were fighting a bunch of undead. Undead are really gross. I don't like them.
They are.
They like screw with the natural order, and that's just wrong. But anyway,
So very wrong.
he got like cornered by like 10 of them all at once and was like really, really stupid.
Did he?
Yeah.
And he
he's
shoots a glaring look at the doorway as Goblin Slayer arrives and realizes, "Oh shit."
This is a
died.
mistake.
Like, he
This is a
straight up
mistake.
died. I had to pray to my goddess just to get him
He
back up again.
died.
Yeah. Luckily my goddess really likes me because I'm her healer. Like I am the first priestess
And remind me,
healer.
what was he fighting when he died?
I think that they were called zombies. No, a bunch of undead. We had to fight a necromancer. And he
A
had these
necromancer.
big spears, and he just kind of chucked them at this necromancer, and it was really cool. But like,
Yeah, that sounds
necromancy's
like him.
yucky. The magic feels wrong, and like, my goddess doesn't like necromancy very much, so I don't like it very much. And she
That's
just like
very fair.
babbles and tells him that every single time Slayer went down, every single
Oh,
time
don't-
she had to
Don't
stake
forget about the
his life.
dragon fiasco.
Oh yeah, and like the dragon fiasco, all of it, and Slayer is just like, oh shit.
This is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a mistake.
He is at a certain point. As soon as you mention this, the dragon, he's got this big, bright, beautiful smile on his face as he's just looking directly at Goblin Slayer. As Slayer's just standing there, like you can tell at this point he's starting to sweat. As he's just like fumbling with his fingers, looking at the ground, like, "Oh no, I made a mistake."
And Bella like notices none of it. She's just
Yeah,
super excited. Like she got to pet the dragon, and she's talking about how she got to touch the dragon, and her brother's gonna be so confused, and she can't wait for them to meet her brother because Slayer promised to go home with her so he could see her village. And like, we're going where?
He just like reaches up, and at this point, like he's got one hand on you and another hand on his forehead, and the smile is gone now. As he's just kind of like closed his eyes and is rubbing his forehead, and Goblin Slayer just walks over and places the nice wine on the counter, sits down on the stool, and realizes he has lost. This is how he dies.
So much for opening that good stuff.
He kind of like as she continues just one topic after another, at a certain point he just like puts his hand on your shoulders, looks you dead in the eyes, and says, "Would you like some cookies?"
Please. I'm not.
Excellent.
Slayer doesn't usually let me have them this late. Usually he forces me into bed soon. One time, I stayed up all night because I got stuck talking poisons and healing drops. And he got really mad. He stormed into the shop I was in and like threatened the guy that I was with and told like I'm not allowed alone near him anymore.
He just like he's like currently like walking with you, like holding on to him, and at this point he's given up just like any pretense. He's just like, okay, I'm listening to this child, I'm going to make some cookies. And he pulls out like a whole bunch of different ingredients out of his pack, and he just starts to make a bunch of I'm gonna say hazelnut not hazelnut, almond cookies. He's gonna make a bunch of almond cookies for us. And I'm gonna say, like, we all get a really wonderful dinner that night. There's at a certain point, they pop the cork after a bit of a scolding that is quiet and polite, but there is definitely a scolding that happens in a corner at some point after he makes the cookies and hands them out and tells everyone to wait for a moment. He needs to talk to his husband.
At one point, Bella does switch to every time like he's helped her and like taking care of her. So like,
yeah.
you got the
He's starting to
sandwich
get the good
method.
stuff now. Yeah, he's starting to get the really good stuff now, but like he's like
It was
seriously.
front loaded with a whole bunch of bad.
Loaded, how front loaded it was. He's like in the corner, like just like, look, you can't never again. And Goblin Slayer's like, yeah, no, I'm on your side with this one. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I have been doing this for how long? And his husband's like, it's been so many years, darling. And he kind of like looks at him, and they like have that like moment of just like, I know I fucked up, and he's like, yeah, you know you fucked up, now do it right. Kind of like that glare at each other, and it's just like, oh, I could never be mad at you, and just like gives him a big hug. Yeah, you've got a himbo and a smart bow here.
It's the by the way, she's like kind of mine now.
Yeah. He's like, apparently she's now my sister, little sister. It's official, I guess. I've been adopted, which I mean, honestly, I've never been adopted before, so this would be great. At that, like his husband just like laughs and says, "Well, I guess that makes me adopted too." And
Do we need
like,
to go and forge the signatures again?
And that's where that's why she keeps talking about bringing you home to her village.
Yeah, that's why. And he's like, yeah, I told you. Like, yeah, I told you. I told her that I would go back because honestly, it sounds like a really lovely place. They have really good food there, apparently. It's like a kind of a spooky forest. I know you like spooky things and forests. And like you could get away from you could get away from your boss for a while, you know? And he kind of like looks at him and says, how much did you make on this run? And Goblin Slayer runs the math in his head. Helly, can I set my rate for this as per the agreements in my head? And how they would probably shake out? Like, just give me a good set rate for how much I'm going to get off of this. Because I'm usually only for goblins, and I charge extra for things outside of that.
I would say for your normal rate for something for a quote unquote rescue mission, because this originally did have to deal with goblins.
Yeah,
would have been probably 500 gold.
Yeah,
and
plus expenses. I always had expenses.
Plus expenses. And the journey had escalated past the initial scope.
Exactly. And so just with the initial expenses and then escalation, obviously there were now hobgoblins and bugbears involved. We all know that's an increased rate. That's about 3 times the cost of a goblin issue, and so I have to tack that on, plus the fact that it's last minute and it's a sudden escalation. I got to charge you an escalation fee. Like, this is him, like, in his head, he's just like, he's doing the number, he's like, okay, initially like 100 gold, and then the next, and that was just like once it was just like 10 gold a month for like the initial thing. It was kind of like an insurance policy, and then you increase the sudden escalation, not to mention the calculation for each goblin that I killed. And like he does all the math right there in front of his husband, who's like listening very intently, and he's like, yeah, that's gonna be about 16,000 gold. Yeah, 1600 gold. And then also that's without the actually technically I rescued 2 people. So double it. That's going to be his initial offer, and then he can say, fine, you only paid for one, but I will give you the second one simply because I like your fucking brother.
The I rescued two people is the cope.
Yeah, is the cope. It's like, no, I'm going to charge him $30,000 for this. I rescued your brother too. You have a new mine. We cleared it out for you. You even have a pet freaking monster eldritch creature in there. You're fine. You can pay it in installments, but pay my rent first.
Man's having cope right now.
Yeah. Actually, he doesn't have rent. He owns this property. It was given to him by the state as a ward of the state. But yeah, no, he just kind of like and then he's like, okay, so about 3K, 3,000 gold ish. That's I mean that's rebuilding this place from the ground up. And his husband's like, that's a lot of money, darling. Okay, so I say, since we never actually got a honeymoon because obviously you weren't ready for it, I was, but you definitely weren't. And now that we are, why don't we can travel? It's a good idea. I'll grant it that. Will there be anywhere with hot springs? Because just nearby, because I think we need a good soak. And at this point, Slayer says, "Well, our next stop would be at the dojo, and there, Grandma talked about her hot
Your next stop
springs
is
and
not the
how it
dojo.
feels." No, the next stop is a little town, and then there's a dojo at the end. No, not the. So we're okay. First
Where are
stop
we
would be
going next?
Nessa's. He's like explaining this to his husband. He's like, first stop would be Nessa's hometown. It's a little Oakville. It's got like really good wineries apparently, and she drinks a lot and she wants me to meet her village, I guess, and go drinking with them. We can have a contest. You can make some good food or something for all the people you want to, and we'll have a grand old time. And his husband just kind of like, you see his eyes light up. And he's like, I could make a feast. We'll make a feast. As he's like, as they're kind of like, he goes through it and like step by step, and he's like, then we're gonna go to the dojo, which probably has hot springs. Grandma always talks about how she misses the baths, and then go. So Bella's like the end of that trail. He's like, all right, and he's like, we'll talk about the rest later. Let's let's go drink and have a lovely night. And they both kind of like step out now, like presenting a united front to the party.
Bella, at this point, it is past her bedtime. She's passed out.
Oh,
She's like curled up, all sweet, still like half in her armor in the corner of the couch. She didn't even bother putting a blanket over. She's just like a little ball.
Goblin Slayer is gonna kind of like walk in and notice Grandma is probably on the bottle of wine with Nessa, who's on the second bottle of wine. And all of you are getting cookies.
What
They're
kind of
warm
cookies?
almond cookies.
I've never had almond cookies.
I love almond cookies.
They're very nice.
They
They've
are
got a
very
good
nice.
they've got a good snap to them, and they're very they've got kind of a nice mellow sweetness to them. They're really good. But yeah, we get he gets you all set up, and we kind of just it's just kind of a night of hanging out at Goblin Slayer's place, eating just small like just eating kind of what leftovers were left, which were not a lot, but we also all ate before he came here, and so like his husband and him, they kind of have like a nice little dinner of pasta, which Goblin Slayer still eating, and yes, they do offer some to any who wants some. But
I think Essence is just going to be like, I'll just eat whatever you guys don't eat.
yeah, at a certain
Because
point in the
napping
night,
makes me hungry.
At a certain point in the night, Goblin Slayer goes into the storage room, pulls out a whole bunch of big, soft uh, they're like big soft bed rolls, like extra soft bed rolls with like cushioning and stuff in them, and he just lays them all out on the floor, moves the coffee table out, and puts it in the storage room, and it's like now the couch pit, and he just kind of like wakes up Bella and says, "Honey, Bella."
What?
Bella.
I'm sleeping.
If you're going to sleep, get out of your armor first.
But that's so much work.
I will help you.
Promise.
I'm ready to do it right now.
Okay. And she's just like, that like
The grumpy
absolutely
three.
fucking
Yeah.
adorable way that little children are just like their eyes aren't even really open. They're like still like mostly asleep when
Yeah.
you get them to get up to do
Essentially,
something.
Goblin Slayer is de-armoring her, and she's just like standing there, kind of like holding her arm up when he tells her, and like just kind of like,
Yeah, she's like just kind of out.
Yeah. He gets her all de-armored, and she's just wearing her soft clothes under her, just like her regular little. I imagine she's wearing like a little shirt and pants underneath or something.
Her soft clothes,
Yeah.
the padded soft clothes you would wear
Yeah.
under heavy armor.
And he just takes her hands, puts a cookie in the middle of the two of them, and holds it into her hand and says, "There you go. Thank you for taking your armor off." And just just leads her back into the couch pillow and just lets her pass out wherever she wants.
And
Am I
she's
working now?
back dead to the world.
Yeah. So, Grandma, what are you up to?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying earlier is Gran wouldn't be drinking. She's tired. But when you put Bella to sleep, she'll ask Bella, "Do you want me to hold you? My tail's pretty comfortable to snuggle with."
She's already out. Like she never woke up to begin with.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I like
with
to
Bella
imagine-
be
I like to imagine as soon as he handed her the cookie, she just walked over and flopped face first into the pillows.
Like straight up. Like
Didn't
that
even
way-
eat the cookie.
No.
What kids do when like they're out and you just are able to they're like puppets at that point. She never woke up. She was just a puppet.
She won't
for a
remember
little
it. She'll
girl.
wake up tomorrow in her soft clothes and be like,
You guys
"Oh,
hear me now? I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm broken
Yes.
still. Okay,
We
I
hear
can
ya.
be heard. Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah. So she never
Uh,
responds. She's dead to the world. Like absolutely dead to the world.
Nessa, at this point, my husband sidles up to you next to you on one of the stools as you're like drinking another glass of wine, and he says, "You drink like my husband."
In fact, I have outdrank your husband.
He kind of like looks at you and like his eyes go wide. He's like, "Interesting. Now that I would like to see. So you're from like a winery or like a little town with a winery?"
Oh yeah, no. Oakers has just the one tavern, and my parents supply all of the alcohol to this
Do
one
you
tavern.
know? Do you know if there's like anywhere in the tavern anywhere in town that would like have a honeymoon suite, or like a really nice room, like a decent room?
I'm pretty sure that Miss Martha's Inn has some pretty nice rooms. I've never stayed there, mostly because I stay at my parents' house.
Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. Just out of curiosity, how far away is it from here? As he's like pouring you another glass of wine and like taking sips from his, like mentally taking notes.
I love how he thinks he needs to get wine in Nessa to get this information when she would
Oh
freely
no,
give it anyway.
he's just trying to
Oh.
see how drunk this white girl can get. This is the moment
Oh
of
my
him
God,
going,
no.
"Oh, you ain't outdrank my husband. Let's see
Let's
that.
see about
Let's
that.
see that.
Let's prove that
Yeah,
to
let's
the
see
point.
about that."
Anyway, how far is Oakers away from here? Because I don't actually know.
It is a
Ellie, you got that
distance.
calculator.
I'm
got
good.
that
I'm pulling it
calculator.
up. Give me just a moment. It is about a week travel.
Oh boy.
It is 6 days and 4 hours.
Bad week.
That's
Give
all
or
right
take.
though. And he kind of like thinks about it for a minute, and he's like, "Okay, about a week's travel. Don't actually. So Stevan wouldn't mind loaning me one of his nice carriages. He does owe me. It's fantastic. And do you? And he's like, you kind of like every so often he like stops and mutters about someone he knows in town that owes him a favor. And he's like, fantastic. And there's a winery. There's a lovely view. What do you like to do in town for fun? Like, just on an average day.
Drink.
At
I
day?
mean, and I guess there's like there is a pretty nice place to take a stroll through the woods, and then we're
Ooh.
pretty close to the dojo, which has the hot springs. So a lot of people go up there
Ooh.
pretty regularly.
And who do I talk to? You've been to the dojo, and at this point, like he's like pumping you for information about this trip, and like doing the math in his head and going, actually, this is going to be really nice, and I know ways to
At
make
this
this
point-
so that it's fun.
At this point, Nessa's just gonna kind of like randomly point in the direction of Nan behind her. You gotta talk to the cat lady.
He turns
Nan
and
is the one
sees
in charge.
Grandma. Grandma, you're passed out at this point.
Grandma is muted at the moment. Yep, there you
No,
go.
what I was trying to say earlier is that she would have tried, if Bella would be okay with it, she would be letting Bella sleep on her. But since that was a no go, then she's just sitting on the couch, probably playing with cards, or reading her book or something.
He kind of like rubs his chin a second and looks at Nessa and says, "You are very delightful. We will have to drink more and speak more on the trip. I need to ask about the dojo, so I'll be right back." And he just like kind of like not quietly but very gracefully like dodges around the pillows and stuff towards you, and I assume Essence is somewhere around here too.
Essence is probably sitting on the floor with broccoli, just playing with it.
And Slayer is like kind of like sitting in a on one of the couch cushions, just watching all of this happen with a glass of wine in his head and just like thinking very carefully and watching his husband move around. As for the first time in his life, he's been gifted with awareness. At this point, like, kind of like steps up to you, Grandma and Essence, and he's like, "So, first of all," he kind of like leans over and looks at Essence, your rock, and he's like, "What is that fantastic thing?"
Oh, watch this. And Gran will hand Essence one of the jewels in her bag for her to give to Broccoli.
In all honesty, I forgot what broccoli is. I just know it's a bundle of rocks.
Yeah, he
He's
can
a
eat
shingle.
stones and stuff. Yeah, and
He
he can
doesn't
eat
eat.
stones to get here sometimes.
He absorbs.
He absorbs
just-
them. Yeah.
Collects them and becomes a bit bigger every time. And I'm just like, this is broccoli. I called him that because he started out with a green stone, and he's rocks, and he makes me think of broccoli. It's my favorite
That's
veggie.
He is adorable. Oh, I
And-
love broccoli. It is a very versatile vegetable, isn't it?
Yes.
It's good in stews, good in stir fries. Oh, I really like that.
He identifies as a he. I identify as a problem.
And Grandma, like, she's still like messing with the cards, and she just her tail comes up and pats her on the head with the tail, as she just goes back to just she's like, yeah, that sounds about right. Just going through her cards.
Okay. So I'm gonna just say I think
I
we're
heard
getting a
the
little bit
identify
off
as a
track here.
problem and then- I heard identify as a problem, and like
Yeah,
the first thing that came to
it just-
mind is like, and Nessa is butch as fuck.
That blue screened me so hard. So let's just go with we need to like move this along because I'm being reminded by Helly and also realizing how long it's been. So
It's been a while.
hurrying this along. I'm going to say that he kind of like pumps all of you for information and then like kind of like announces that they can leave. They can leave in the morning. They can leave in 2 days, and then like for the next 2 days, he cooks you guys really good meals. He does pasta one day. He does like euros the next day, and it's like a lot of really different food, and he does it for lunch and breakfast and dinner, and like he kind of like you can tell he like at early the next morning he went down to town, and then he came back with a bunch of groceries and tells Goblin Slayer that he's He got a couple months off from work because he owns the place. So he comes back. He's also when he comes back, he has 2 carriages with him, pulled by 6 horses. And it just like comes up. He's like, I know a man, and he owed me a favor, and I'm never going to work with him again. However, we have carriages. This will be much easier. Not faster, but easier. Let's go. Let's go. And so he starts packing stuff into the trailers, like a whole bunch of cooking equipment, and Goblin Slayer's like just like helping him, kind of like going, why are we bringing all this stuff the entire time? Packs his entire wardrobe into one of the backs, and then he like helps you. Then he like this is over the course of like a couple days, and once everyone's all packed into the coaches, we start heading up towards Nessa's place.
And then, after about a week's worth of traveling in the fairly, cushy carts.
As over that week, what you learn about my husband is basically he's been a cook for a long time. He's also an orphan like me. We've known each other since forever, and he was waiting so long for me to finally get a grip, and so he's just very happy to see all of you, and he is like a very sweet man who also is very big, strong, and cooks amazing risotto. That's all you need to know about him.
All right.
Before we left to go on that, by the way, Essence is going to go into the workshop and just move everything just a centimeter to the right.
And also, Grant also is helping her with this. I already rolled myself on it because we may have been talking in a private chat. And got a 26 on that stealth check just to help her move everything just enough to throw him off just a little bit.
Oh, you are evil. I love it.
I identify as a problem.
Specifically.
And Grant helps with that, so maybe she's a problem.
Honestly, that is the perfect prank for Goblin Slayer. I cannot wait for him to get home. That'll be later. That's off screen.
All right. So, after about 6 days of travel, we arrive in Dewey's hometown of Oakhurst.
Yeah. And we're riding in just nice, comfortable like wagons, so it's not as hard of a journey.
Oh, it's Oakhurst? I thought
Yes.
it was Oakhurst.
No,
Hurst.
Oakhurst.
I've been pronouncing it wrong this entire time.
So
It's
Daily, introduce us
local
to your
dialect.
town.
Alright, as we roll into town, what's left of whatever ruins were here, you can't really tell the difference between them and the buildings that were built up around them. Some of them, you can only see the ruins because you can see newer stone stacked up on top of them that has been turned into houses and shops. Everything's kind of been reused. Now, we come in on the front of town. You kind of have to go through town before you actually see where Nessa grew up. The vineyard is actually out the back of town, just to the edge. There's modest-sized sort of farmhouse, and then just good number of acres of just vines and farmland and such like that. Turns out that Nessa, probably the only reason Nessa even got into the militia is not because she badgered them into it, but because her parents have at least a decent amount of money. So people didn't want to really ruffle feathers with the people who provide the alcohol.
Yep, I love this.
So as they roll into town, of course Nessa's pointing out things. But not like in a tourist fashion. She's like, okay, and that's the bakery I got kicked out of because they told me that I couldn't try any more free samples. That's the armor shop that refuses to work with me because I told them that all of their armor was like not suited for women. A little bit misogynistic. I just don't buy armor from them anymore. That's the militia barracks there. I won about 4 different poker tournaments in my which is pretty cool. All of the guys there are kind of, sort of like begrudgingly impressed, but also really mad at me for being way better at poker than them. And then that's the tavern. I've ended up kicked down on the street, drunk, probably about. She's counting on her fingers at this point. 26 times. And then as they get to the end of town, and this is where I live.
As you're like drinking, as you're like spewing all this, the rest you see is Goblin Slayer and his husband like look at each other back and forth like every single time she mentions something, and it's like watching two gay men realize their friend is a disaster lesbian.
And of course, even as they're scrolling through, as they're going through town down the one main street, the one road that's in Oakhurst. There's a couple side roads, but there's only like one main road. And Nessa's of course waving to people, and like there are some people who kind of awkwardly wave back, some people who are a little bit more enthusiastic about waving back to her and saying, "Hi, Agnes." And then there's a couple of like the more formal Miss Beaumont.
Miss
And then
Beaumont.
there's the people who specifically like avoid her gaze.
I'm imagining, and this is all happening as you're like leaning
Yes,
out the side of a carriage.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. But like it's very obvious that everyone in this town very much knows who Agnes Beaumont is. So they get to the end.
Agnes.
Because her first name is in fact Agnes, but she doesn't like the name Agnes, so she goes by Nessa.
I love it.
Her name on the character sheet is definitely Agnes Beaumont.
That's so good.
Anyway, so we get to the end of the town. We pull over the carriages, and the first thing you see when we get to the farmhouse at the end of town is the like from the window into the kitchen, where the curtains are open, you see a older woman, probably about her late 40s, early 50s, with Nessa's same dark red auburn hair, just with a few streaks of gray in it. Like she pokes her head out the shuttered windows, and then she steps out front, dusting flour from her apron, and she calls out to the field, "Hey, honey, Nessa's home!" And Nessa jumps from the carriage and goes and hugs her mom.
I imagine she does it with that really good loud hollering voice that like that people who live on a farm get.
Definitely. I just
That
can't do
country
because
yell.
right now my roommate's asleep, so.
Slayer kind of like gets out of the carriage with his husband. Now they're both just wearing like relatively decent traveling clothes. They are matching though.
Slayer's like a lot.
One sec, I'm changing back to voice activity so I can actually talk without hitting the push to talk.
What was that about, Bella?
Slayer is like actually a lot better off financially than we were aware of.
Yeah.
He's just like low key loaded, but
he's
like,
not loaded. His husband's loaded, and he didn't realize that his husband was his husband.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Nessa's parents are actually pretty well off.
Yeah.
And then
dead broke.
And then there's Essence, who wears the same 2 shirts every other day.
Yeah.
No, hey, those are very nice shirts that your grandmother has made for you. So I'm just saying.
And then there's Bella, who only is starting to get like a basic awareness of what funds are.
Yes.
So Nessa runs up to the older lady, who very obviously is her mom. And she's like, "Hey, Ma, how's everything been going?" She's like, "Oh, it's been going fine, sweetie. It's just, who are these people?" And I'm like,
And just
"Oh,
like
you-
Goblin Slayer's like
Ooh,
standing there holding his
funny,
husband's
you're
hand,
sweet
and
funny."
like his husband like puts his hand up and waves at her. Like I imagine we're all standing in a line, and like my husband, we're just like, hi.
It's the typical movie scene of everybody's just in a line and the one person runs up ahead.
Oh, so these are your friends, sweetie. And then Nessa glances back. She thinks for a moment. I'm like, yeah, my friends. I'm so
I feel
glad you made
You
friends.
would
Good job,
recognize Gran
everyone.
at least.
I Goblin Slayer just kind of like mumbles
Miss
something
Bo-
about.
Mrs.
I'm pretty
Beaumont
sure
is
I'm
now
related
inviting
now.
you guys all in. Yeah. Anyway, Miss Beaumont is inviting you all in, which I actually don't have a first name for. You know what?
She could
Her,
be
her
Agnes
name.
too.
I'm not gonna name her mom Agnes too. That's
Okay.
too much. It's a little too much. A little too much. I have no idea what we're gonna refer to her as Mrs. Beaumont,
Miss Beaumont.
and her husband's gonna
That's
be
fair.
Mr. Beaumont.
You
That's
can name her
fair.
Arlene.
Arlene's a good one.
Arlene Beaumont. I love that.
So,
Yes.
David, what
Oh my
was this
gosh.
about the
And her
3
her-
weeks of preparing and quality roleplay that you lied to the chat about?
I did
We
my
were
role play
very good about that.
test. I thought it through.
We
I've
were
been
supposed to
obsessing
talk
about
bad
this
about
place
that.
this whole time.
I forgot we had to figure out where Vanessa lived. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. But we the new husbands both like very politely introduce each other with no last name. And actually they have the same last name, but it's it's Sayer, and it's Gorbak and Obira Sayer. They like introduce themselves properly and just like go, I'm Slayer, he's Chef.
Slayer. God damn. Well, it's lovely to meet you too. And what's Margie's last name again? Isn't it just Sage?
Sage.
Yeah, but I feel like she would have known her as Margie or something like that.
Yeah, at this
Yeah.
point she'd be calling her Miss Margie.
Miss
Oh, no.
Margie.
She'd be calling
Like
her Miss Margie.
with how much Grandma does like to drink, and them being the winery, I feel like they're on first name basis. Just very nickname,
And also the fact that the
Margie
dojo is
type
really close.
nonsense.
Oh, you know what it is? Your mom sees Miss Margie, and there's like this moment, and she looks at her and goes, Miss Margie. Like she's like really
No,
like
it's
she's
no,
like, oh, I know this woman.
no. It's more of like Miss Margie. Like Margie's still alive.
You're
Oh, I like
still
that.
here?
You're
It's good to
still
see
here.
ya.
You're still kitchen, Miss Margie. It's good to see you. Come on in. Yep. No. Darlene is straight Southern now. That's just happened.
I love it.
Gotta get that southern drawl.
Does she get grandma a glass of wine like immediately?
Absolutely.
Bella's
Absolutely.
like,
Invites everyone in, and she's like, "I was just finished baking a pie. You guys all like pie?"
and Bella is like in a move none of you have ever seen from this girl before. Suddenly shy, hiding behind Slayer and his husband. Like she's just kind of like, I don't know these people. You've never seen her act shy before.
He just kind of like looks down at her and was like, "Come on, say hi to the nice lady."
Always
Come
thought
on.
the little
I'm
ones can always
Bella.
be shy.
I'm Belladonna. This group mostly calls me Bella. I don't know what
Wait,
a
it's
last
not-
name.
Well, that's all right, Miss Bella. You are welcome here. I'm
Have
so
I
glad you all made friends with my little Nessa.
have I met your parents before?
Grandma, did
Probably
you bring
not,
her down?
probably- Unless, yeah.
You know,
unless,
she's with Gran a lot. If Gran knows her, you would know her.
Okay. And little Essence. Oh my gosh, you're so grown up now.
You are now my auntie. You have always been my auntie. Hi.
Of course I've been your auntie.
I'm
You're
just
not my
making it your own
actual auntie,
family.
but you've always been my auntie. I love it.
Nessa, I think I didn't have to
Oh.
heal her a lot. She stayed alive.
I think I'm
Oh,
the only
yeah,
one who
my
didn't take a
Nessa is
decent amount of
one tough
damage.
cookie.
I imagine a
Nessa's
sideways
one tough
look
cookie.
at me from Bella.
I'm just gonna look at all the other people except for Chef and be like, I have not tried to kill your daughter. Everyone else has at least tried.
Hey.
Goblin Slayer just stops and
Oh, wait,
looks
no.
at
Never mind.
Essence.
Yeah, you're the one who didn't actually hit me with a freaking arrow.
To be fair, I don't
At
think
this
Slayer
point,
has hit Nessa yet either.
I never hit
Oh, true.
Nessa.
No, it was Essence that he hit.
Yeah, it was Essence that he hit.
Yep.
So at this point, everyone's been invited into the house, into the farmhouse. The smell of a cherry pie is wafting through the nice little farmhouse, and of course, Mrs. Beaumont is just explaining how she just picked cherry. I just picked the cherries from the tree this morning. They're fresh as can be. It's gonna be the best cherry pie you all have ever eaten. It'll be the death of me.
Goblin Slayer's husband is just like full on watching, staring at this pie with like a look of pure undiluted glee on his face. He's being polite, but he cannot wait to taste this pie.
It's food he hasn't had to
So-
cook.
Yeah.
So
He's
Arlene
never made
hands
a
Nessa.
pie like this before. He's never had access to cherries.
So Arlene hands the knife to Nessa, and she's like, "Go on, dear. Why don't you cut everyone a slice of pie? I'm gonna make sure your father gets in here." And then she goes out the back door, and you hear that really loud farmy holler, "Arthur, we have gas. Get your ass in here." And you can now tell that Nessa gets her potty mouth not from her father, but from her mother.
I love it.
And after a few more minutes, Nessa's handed everyone a slice of pie on, on one of the plates on there, and Mr. Beaumont finally comes in. He doesn't seem as burly as you would expect a farm worker to be. He actually almost seems like he is scrawnier than Nessa.
He's a scrawny feller.
But he's toned. You can tell
He's
that
wiry.
from the fact that he's wiry.
He's built
And
like my
so-
grandpa.
He's got
Wiry
got
and strong.
dark brown hair that you might mistake for black. He's got the kindest hazelnut brown eyes that you can see that Nessa gets her eyes from her dad. And he's like, "Well, howdy, folks."
At this
Welcome
point, like,
to Oakhurst.
I imagine we all took one bite of the pie, immediately died, went to heaven, came right back to the pie, and like Goblin Slayer's like had a religious experience, and so did his husband. They're just all both sitting there, fork in their mouth, like tears slowly going down their cheeks.
Well, I think they like the pie, Ma. Well, I'm glad they like the pie. And so now that Arthur Beaumont has now come in. Yes, I've decided they're all names. That is what's happened now. Arthur Beaumont has come in. Marlene introduces everyone around the table to her husband real quickly. And she's like, "These are the lovely friends Arnis has made on her, what you call it, sweetie? Adventure? Adventure."
I mean, adventure, hostage rescue, same thing, really. Looks over at Grandma. Wouldn't you say that's what an adventure is? You rescue some hostages, fight a dragon,
Oh, you
I mean-
find your
thought-
will to live.
Oh my goodness, we're glad you're home then.
We didn't win, but we didn't die, so I guess we won. That's actually pretty good. I mean, looks over at Bella. Did I actually, like... And his husband just, like, slaps him on the back of the head.
You
And he just like sits upright.
kind of got the fear of God pounded into you with that one.
Yeah.
Nessa and I were fine. I don't even think he hit me. He tried to eat me, but I'm fast. I'm little and fast, so I got out of the way.
Not my brightest moment. But we all made it home safe.
Barely.
Suppose that's
Don't you remember? I had exhausted my abilities to heal at that point. I couldn't even get you guys up healed. Like I had just enough to keep you stable.
And you see, like, as far as Arlene, she just seems relieved that everyone made it out alive, and then Arthur is just like wide-eyed, being like, "What the fuck did I let my daughter walk out into?"
Yeah.
And then it's just how old is this little girl that she's the one who just kept everyone alive, apparently.
This is very much the your dad meeting all of your really weird friends and not knowing how to process it.
Wait, I got a button for that. It's
That is what's going on in Arthur Beaumont's head right now.
And then
Did
I
this
imagine
child-
Nessa hands him a piece of pie.
Yeah, Nessa, like, Arlene's just, like, diligently listening onto the story, seeming, like, mildly concerned, but also just glad everyone's alive. And Nessa hands her father a piece of pie, walks him over to one of the chairs, and sits him down and be like, "It's fine, Pa. I'm alive. It's fine. I swear. You know how tough I am. I can pull
Pa's
the
just like-
fucking plow by myself."
I was just sitting there and like, there's a concerning number of children in this party. Like,
Yup.
there's a concerning number of you that are children.
Yup.
Nessa's not a child. Nessa's 20.
I mean,
No.
in his eyes.
well,
in
No,
his
but
eyes,
in his
me
eyes,
and
Nessa
Ryan are the only
is.
adults.
well,
And then
Daily, you may
Essence,
be an adult, but there's Essence and Bella.
who are very obviously not adults.
And you're his baby girl. He loves you.
But don't worry, we can
Yeah,
just
no.
blame Nan.
And I mean, that's probably what
Well,
we're
at this point,
it's gonna
I
end
bet
up.
that Arthur and Nan are probably not on the best of terms. Because Arthur is terrified of what Nan does.
He can't figure out what she does for a living, and it's terrifying.
Well, he knows.
And now
He
she's
just doesn't
pulling
like
his baby girl, his little princess, into it too. Where she should be at home
Oh,
on the
man, that's
farm like a
awful.
good child.
And her mom's just happy that she's alive. Her mom's like, "Oh, Nan's
Her
great.
mom's
I love her. She's
No,
really
her
good. She
mom's
loves my
just
pie."
happy she's made friends.
Yes. Isn't
Not
that
even that
great?
she's alive. She's like, "Oh, my sweet Nessa's made friends. Finally. Maybe she'll get herself a husband too. Little does she know."
Don't worry.
The rest of the town knows. Arlene is blissfully unaware.
She's refusing. She's refusing reality.
To acknowledge. Refusing reality, yes. And then, basically, after they get through all of the stories of what happened on the adventure, I'm not going to take up time that. We all know what happened there. Arlene's like, "Are y'all going to stay for dinner, or do you plan on going to the tavern?" I'm like, "Well, we plan to drink at the tavern. But Ma, you know your food's better than the tavern." She's like, "Aw, sweetie, I'm glad you still like my cooking." And Nessa's gonna turn to the rest of the group and be like, "You guys all want to stay for dinner here?"
Emphatically, yes. Yeah, the pie was really good. I'll take it.
Auntie's food is great. Yeah. Num num num.
Oh, I'm so glad you like my cooking too, Essence.
Bella.
Little do they
Yes.
know that Essence loves food no matter what. Except
I'm
for Brussels sprouts.
I mean,
I'm
Nessa
okay.
doesn't like Brussels sprouts either. Sorry, could you say that again? Bella.
I'm okay. I'm okay with eating here. That's fine with me.
Did you try the pie?
Everyone should have gotten a slice of pie. That's what would have made sure everyone got a slice of pie.
All right. So we all have a
Okay.
lovely. I imagine it's like a good home cooked dinner.
Oh, like fresh slaughtered chicken. And
Yeah,
all of that
like
too.
like a whole chicken and some good potatoes and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Big old loaf of bread.
And
I
of
love it.
course, there is coffee for dessert. That's just a thing you would do. Okay. And after they're all done with dinner, and Arthur has had his fill of adventure stories and just retires to bed because he just can't handle it anymore.
Yeah, that poor man. You're killing your father.
At this point, Nessa's gonna suggest that they head out on the town and go to the tavern so she can introduce the whole party to her militia buddies, who really aren't
great.
actually her friends, but she likes to pretend are her friends.
When you're heading out to the pub, your mom is definitely handing you a large box saying to take that to the tavern for her.
We
Absolutely.
each take a crate. Like she gives each of the big looking fellows a crate and is like, "Will you take this to the tavern for me, darling?" And it's just like both me and my husband are like, "Hell yeah, sure, we'll take this to the tavern. It means we can drink it."
And Bella just like grabs one too. See, she shouldn't be able to pick that up. It's like the
She's
same size,
strong.
and she just lifts it.
Arlene's gonna protest until she picks it up, and she's like, "Oh, another strong girl like my Nessa."
Bella's shield is still in the cart, and her sword is in the cart, so they don't see the fact that her shield is as big as she is. Her sword is as big as she is.
Nope. Of course not.
She just
And
picks
Essence
up a
is just
big
walking
crate.
behind them all.
She's supervising.
Nessa's carrying her own chair too. Of crates.
Grandma, you coming with us to drink at the tavern?
Gran will probably sit and catch up and give her an update on, okay, so this is what Nance's done. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, she decided to drink all, and like is telling all these stories from Gran's perspective.
Oh yeah.
So she has that, and so she knows ahead of time, but that way when Nessa does it, she's like, okay, I don't have to freak out when Nessa tells me.
Yeah.
And she's done
It's
this
like
before when
over a
they've done like
glass of
little
peach tea.
trips.
It's over a glass of peach tea too, like really fresh peach tea.
And
You just
also,
like
Arlene
literally
is not
spilling the tea.
surprised by anything.
Nah, it's over a bottle of frost wine.
I love that.
Oh my
Just-
gosh, yes. Actually, no, it would be an over.
Spill
it
the
would
tea,
be an
Grandma.
over bottle of actually like a good sparkling like grape wine, because that's what they make there.
Well,
The vineyard.
frost wine is an elven wine from frost-touched
Uh-huh.
grapes.
It's
I
like
doubt that that's what we would be growing in Oakhurst.
Nah.
I mean,
It's
just
just
because
like a
this is what
really
you're growing,
good
it doesn't mean you don't
bottle.
have it. You can
I mean,
still
it is a
import
winery.
shit.
Could import it.
It is the
Who's-
special
figured it would
stuff
actually
she
be,
brings
like,
out
okay.
when her and Gran are talking shit about everybody. Like
Oh,
parents who drop their,
Yeah.
they don't talk shit about kids, no. But it's like their parents, and they're like, did you hear about Johnny's mom? Yeah. And they'll do that
They're-
kind of nonsense
they're
about
playing
both of the
bridge.
dojo and in the town. And then
Oh, I
like when
love
Gran
it.
comes down, she brings down like her whiskey and whatnot. She just
Yes.
hasn't had the time. So that's why she's bringing out her fancy stuff. But we wait till y'all get down the street because she's like, Nessa knows when I open a good bottle of wine, and we know we can't trust her, and we kind of giggle about that. But yeah, so this is like when she hides from Nessa specifically because she knows Nessa's habits. And
When
Gran
the
and her are
wine
just
mom and
like,
the wine aunt
Whole
get
bottle.
together.
oh yeah. And so we're just, before you guys leave, she
And
looks
they're playing
at
bridge, so of
um
course you know that Nessa didn't also get her card skills from her father. It was still from her mother.
oh yeah, and that's why that's
Her
also
mother's
what
a
they're gonna
champion.
probably bring out because Gran has a lot of cards up her sleeve, but
They're playing
Um,
gin rummy.
oh for sure. But we bet on
Nessa's
things,
mother's a
Oh,
timid
and
yeah.
it starts
her
small,
I
and the
say-
drunker we get, the bigger the nonsense. And so like you've seen Gran in town, like I had to bring in this big old like wheelbarrow full of stuff that she had one of the kids bring, whatnot. So over the years, this is what they've done. But before y'all leave with Essence, she looks to Slayer's husband. Okay, so the rest of them aren't that responsible. If you could just keep an eye on her, I'd prefer if she didn't drink alcohol, but if she does, oh well, she's gonna have a hangover. She got to deal with it. If she does it so Essence doesn't hear her say that, but she's like, just
Also,
keep an eye on
Nan
her.
doesn't know for the fact that, like, obviously Nessa's brought Essence to the tavern before, and the tavern keeper knows.
Yeah,
and doesn't give her
he
the
also
alcoholic
keeps her.
stuff.
But no, his Goblin Slayer's husband just like looks between her and Essence and goes, "Don't worry, darling. I understand. I'll keep her off the hard stuff at the very least. If she sneaks a glass of wine, she looks very sneaky. I can do what I can, but I'll keep an eye on her. at the very
Yeah,
So
she
whatever.
real sneaky. And she
So
looks
what
at you and gives you the side eye. Essence.
Essence is just thinking. I was actually thinking of that too. I was like, man, the bartender knows me. We're going to have blast. He's going to get me stuff, but in reality, he never hands me actual alcohol. It's always juice.
Juice.
It's
Like, it's
like
sparkling
really it's
cider.
mocktails. He gives you mocktails with a
There's
little
sometimes
tiny
alcohol in it, but it's
I feel like it's more like
cold.
kombucha, where there could be
Yeah,
alcohol
kombucha.
in it, but it kind of like throws her off, and she's like, "Yeah, I like this." No, I don't.
It's
I don't like
it's
this.
cut to
a
1%.
thimbleful. There's
Yeah,
literally
cut
a
to
thimbleful
1%.
of like alcohol to it, so it's cut to 1%. So it's just enough that you know there's alcohol in it, but not enough for it to do anything.
Not unless I'm drinking a bunch of it.
Yeah. And
And
just
then
gives
he's
you a
like, "Well,
glass
here, let me
over.
switch you to some cider." And she's seen other people order cider before, and so she thinks it's the alcohol. It's not. It's the regular.
It's that
'cause he
nice
knows
warm
better.
spice cider though.
Yes,
Cider
exactly.
can be alcoholic.
Well, yeah. So all
They
the
sell
other
that too.
patrons are getting it. He's giving her like apple cider instead
He
of
has
like
an
hard
agreement with
cider.
Nan where she doesn't skin him alive and he doesn't let Essence drink until she's old
Oh,
enough.
why do you think the tavern keeper is a man?
It's only
Actually,
because I
probably
tried to
is.
go into the
It
back the
absolutely is.
one time.
Yeah, twice. He doesn't know about the second time though.
No one knows about the second time.
No, I feel like you would have been like, "Hey, Gran, I brought this for you," and just didn't tell her. But Gran's like, "This is actually a really nice bottle of wine," and she's like, "Okay," and keeps her mouth shut. Granted, does not acknowledge she went in another time, but is like,
Moving along here. Moving along here.
Yeah.
Margie and Arlene are catching up. The rest of us are going to the tavern. And of course, as Nessa walks into the tavern and everyone notices that she's there, there is a very audible collective groan from just military
And a lot
guys.
of money changes hands. Like a lot of money changes hands.
So much money changes hands. And then
Most of it's going to the barkeep.
Who is
Most
the
of it's
only
going
man
to the
who
barkeep.
bet on you.
He's the man who actually like supported Nessa. Like his
Yeah.
parents were vaguely supportive, but this man was just like, I know you can hold your drink, you can hold a sword.
Yeah, a lot of people are just going to pay that man.
It's just a whole, but he has like a full tip jar.
Like, really? Really? You guys put me in the death pool? How dare?
You
And then
put me in and Slayer looks up and there's literally a wall of names and he just walks up and he erases Nessa's name off of it. I like this place.
Anyway, so Nessa's going around the crowd. Of course, there's still people dodging her glance. But there's a couple others that do say hi. She exchanges a few high fives around, and they're like, Nessa, I can't believe you survived. I'm like, yeah, I know, right? I mean, there were a couple of close calls, but I'm not the one who almost died.
Got to go see a nice red dragon.
That's another elbow in Goblin Slayer's chest.
And so as she gets around to the actual people who are like actually greeting her and seem actually kind of friendly, she's gonna introduce the crowd to, the party to, and she's gonna be like, all right, and then so party. So this is Steve, this is Mac, and that's Thomas over there. She names off a bunch of names. Obviously, they're all men. She is again the only woman in the militia.
Slayer's husband is like evaluating each person as he sees them and just he doesn't know names to any of them. He just kind of goes, hi. And just like moves next, like very much like, nope, don't like this guy, don't like this guy, don't like this guy.
Not getting good vibes.
Getting a lot of bad vibes in here. These people were betting against her.
And then, as of course they get through the introductions for the actual militia guys she does like and she doesn't mind, the ones who didn't get as mad at her for winning basically every pool night, she gets up to the bartender. She she hands him a silver, and she's like, I'm gonna put this on Thomas in the next raid.
I'm putting this on Thomas.
You see Thomas over here, and like he's obviously
What the hell, man?
He's obviously smaller and younger than Nessa and most of the other guys. He seems like he probably just joined the militia.
He's a
shortly
greenhorn.
after Nessa did.
He's a greenhorn.
And he seems like he might be able to pick up a sword, but you're not quite sure if he could like hold a sword.
Could wield a sword.
Yeah.
Like actually like swing the sword. He might be able to pick it up. He might be able to stab, but he definitely could not swing that sword properly. And the bartender's like, nice to have you back, Nessa. What you be drinking? And then so she's gonna look at the menu for like 2 seconds, pretending to look over, and she's like, really? Really? You think you need to ask me? You know what I get every single time. Just give me the hard stuff.
Well, remember, you guys are also all carrying a crate of booze.
Yeah. At this point, like Goblin Slayer just goes, where do I put this?
Oh. He's like, oh yeah, just drop it off around here on the side. I'll get it taken care of.
They stack it very nicely there.
Beautiful. Nessa's is actually just sitting on the counter, and the tavern keeper just picks it up and sticks it behind the tavern. And given that Nessa obviously is just so focused on drinking and hasn't even introduced to him, he's going to introduce himself to the crowd. Like, hey y'all, name's Liam.
Name's Cletus.
Name's Cletus.
Liam.
Helly, I need a vibe check on this guy. I want a vibe check on this guy, Nessa. I'm gonna get in.
Roll insight.
That's a 14.
He's this big burly black man with a shaved bald head and like this full beard.
I like
looks like
him.
a very jolly man.
He's very nice, and he's always good, quick with a smile and a wink. I like him.
Exactly.
Name's Cletus.
No, his name's Liam.
Name's
Not
Liam.
Cletus. Liam. His name's Liam.
Goblin Slayer and his husband look immediately at each other, look at Liam, and like Goblin Slayer just kind of like holds out his hand and is like, Obira Saya. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And then Gorbok.
You do Liam's voice. You do it better.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And you are? Gorbok. Gorbok Saya. Nice to meet you. And they shake hands, and there's like a moment where Gorbok kind of like grips his hand a little bit, and like they stare at each other, and then they both nod and like step and like kind of step away.
And I feel like on the side of Liam, he's like, is this really the crew who should be running around with our girl? Because of course she's like the town sweetheart.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The town pain in the ass, but everyone likes her.
The town pain in the ass, but obviously the barkeep likes her because of course she keeps him in business.
Did he ask a question?
He asked what he wanted.
He asked Nessa what she was drinking. He's like, seriously, like, do you even have to ask anymore? And then after introductions, he asks the rest of everyone what they want to drink. And I think
Goblin Slayer wants to drink
wine, There's a beer, there's ale, there's mead. Got any kind of alcohol you can probably imagine, I bet.
Slayer looks at the man and says, whatever you would get for this one, points to Essence, give to that one, points to Bella. Who, by the way, I imagine, Bella, are you hiding behind me again?
Yes.
Okay, I just kind of like pull Bella out a little bit and like, get this one what you would get to that one. Yeah, the special. Thank you, boss. And I'll have whatever she's having, just because I want to try to keep up with her tonight. And at this point, Gorbok leans in and says, "What kind of whiskey you got?"
He literally like hands you a paper that has a list of different.
You want
whiskeys
some
on it.
whiskey? We got some double pipe ginger.
Ooh, I'll take the double pipe ginger. That sounds amazing. And so, like, 2 whiskeys.
Alright.
Essence and Bella both get whatever the special is, and Grandma's still back at the house gossiping.
The kids are getting Kindary.
Bran is very much this time like they're like, okay, we're moving up. We went to Gin Rummy, and now we're playing Canasta.
Yep.
And
moved to
at some point,
Canasta.
we're gonna be playing poker.
Yep.
They're gonna end the
And
night-
you just see Nessa's
Art
dad
is
in the
doing.
background, kind of like looking around the corner, seeing if he can come into the room.
Oh no, he knows when the
And-
ladies are playing, he doesn't bother them.
Hey,
He's
hey,
like, he sneaks
they're gonna
into
end the night
kitchen,
playing
and
Set Wars
behind
of
his
Catan.
backpack, he should grab a piece of pie.
Yeah. He steals another piece of pie. Oh my gosh, I love that though.
all
They're just
right.
going up the
His
ladder.
wife's in charge, obviously.
So
That's
The-
where Nessa gets all her spunk.
the kids are getting some cut Kindary, which is just a cheap hard apple cider sweetened with honey.
Cool. Nice
And-
and nice and light.
And
Nessa's getting the special racked wine that comes from her parents' vineyard.
The really
Which
hard
is Probably, it's
well,
wine,
do you want
but
the
it's like
well,
twice the alcohol content of normal wine.
do you want the wine or do you want a beer? Because I got some options here.
Nah, I figured she'd get whatever comes from her parents' vineyard. She's loyal like that.
I can respect that.
But of
Hey.
course, the specific wine is the wine that's twice the alcohol content of the regular wine they sell. The special wine.
'Cause they- They have the hard wine and then the watered wine, which is the juiced wine.
Well, you're getting so whoever's getting the house special is getting some Lindenwell,
Ooh.
Beautiful.
a wine distilled into an extremely flammable brandy.
Oh,
Yes.
I like that.
Exactly.
As soon as Gorbak sees it, he says, "I'll have one of those as well." Because first he's like, "I'll take the whiskey," sees that and goes, "No, I want that," and
yeah,
and
no,
immediately
that
downs
can
the
be-
entire
you want
whiskey like
brandy.
it's not there, and then swaps to the brandy.
Nothing can
Uh,
beat Beaumont brandy.
All right, let's get some Constitution saves out of our drinkers here.
Gorbak is going to, yeah, I'll use Gorbak's too. I know what his is. So for
I'm sorry,
Slayer,
I gotta
that's
get
a
over to my dice.
For Slayer, that's a 17. For Gorbak, that is a 6.
Ooh, that's a hit.
Yeah, he's already one drink in before we start the round too, so it makes sense that he rolled low on that one. First one doesn't count because it was a warm up.
Constitution save, right?
Constitution save.
One sec, I can't remember what my Constitution modifier is. I need to look it up. Take me 2 seconds. I just have to load up my computer now.
When they're drunk enough, Essence plans to use invisibility to go and steal another bottle. Obviously puts the coin down to pay for it, but she's going to sneak
Steals
it
I do
and keep it
imagine, though, I
to give to
imagine-
Nan.
Oh, I was gonna say, I imagine at this point that probably, more likely than not, Liam knows that that's what she probably
Well,
plans on doing 'cause she's done it before.
But here's the thing: Essence has learned new ways to hide from him.
Oh,
So
That
now
is true.
now she can get past him again. I like this.
my Constitution's +2. Okay, I got a 15 on mine.
Imagine if he can't catch her as she's actively doing it, he just lets it slide.
Yeah.
Hey.
If he knows she's getting it for Nan, yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
And I
most of
pay,
the
so it's
time.
okay.
Hey, do the kids also want to roll to see if they're getting buzzed from their cut juice?
It's very wimpy buzz, but it's just enough that you're like, ooh, this is kind of spicy and warm.
Bella, like, very much just kind of sips it. She's not,
You're
He's
taking
just
your
kind
time
of
with
in-
it.
yeah,
actually
enjoying
trying
the
not to get-
atmosphere, not talking to a single person.
Oh, she
So
drinks
are-
like
are-
I drink.
Are you drinking to try to get drunk?
Not to get drunk this time. Not at least until after I get my bottle.
Okay, we'll mark you
And
later.
Nessa's just drinking to party, not really to get drunk. 'Cause
Okay.
After she's done her glass and she's halfway through it, she's going to be going around the tables that have cards playing, and she's going to be nitpicking at the way the militia guys are playing cards.
Do you guys want to play cards with my husband
Oh my gosh, yes! I thought you
As he
knew
sees
that.
Nessa walking I imagine they get like 3 drinks in and they see like Nessa like wandering around the starting to go to tables and talk about the card game, and his husband just Gorbok just walks right up to her and says, "Do you want to play?"
Absolutely, yes!
Right now, Gorbok does get advantage on charisma-based checks and saving throws.
Yep. And he's a bard.
He is tipsy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's having fun with it.
Oh,
I imagine we're all
tipsy,
tipsy, so this
actually,
is
this
going to be a fun.
Well, no, you're all sober because you all passed the check except for him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Breaking out this old rule. This old table.
That's funny.
Upon hearing that, Slayer just leans over to Bella. Do you want to play cards with them?
Okay.
I think you'd be good at it. Plus, it's a lot of fun. I have a hard time with the numbers.
Nessa's
okay.
gonna break.
Yeah, I can
Nessa's
play
gonna
cards.
break out her. Nessa's gonna break out her cards and get them set up at a table, because
Okay.
Liam does not allow cards at the bar. He's got a strict
Nope.
rule about that. Mostly because of things that have happened before. Well,
So
that
we
and,
all go,
there
and
is- there is
at
an
this point,
incident that spun
we're
that
going to be playing
rule.
cards while Essence steals a bottle. I can't wait.
All right. Well,
And
after
a couple of the militia guys also want to join in. Specifically,
Do you guys
Steven
know the
Mac.
card rules? Do you know the rules for playing cards?
I do not. I don't
Okay,
remember
so
them
you
at
get
least. I know we've used them, but I don't remember them.
so it's 3d6. You pull 3d6, and you roll them. The higher the number, the better it is, and you're just basically looking at
Your
it
number
and
versus their
looking
number.
at how good you are, and then saying that you'll bet or that you're pulling out of it, and you're just guessing as to whether each other player has a higher or lower than you. But it's using charisma checks and stuff, and so like you can lie to each other, but if you lie, you have to use deception, and then if you tell the truth, you use persuasion. And all of this, if you are proficient in cards, you get to add your proficiency bonus as well, an additional time.
Beautiful. I get my proficiency bonus twice. I get a plus.
I can run through it. So we're gonna roll the d6 one at a time, and then you decide if you're in or out, and then we go to the next person. So I'm gonna roll for Warlock.
Oh, we don't keep our we don't roll just once. We roll multiple times. Is that correct?
No, you
it's
roll
one
so
dice at a
basically-
time.
Yeah, you add one dice at a time because you're each turn you're revealing an additional card on the field that changes your hand. So you could roll really well the first time, but if you roll really low the second time, it's just whatever your total
Current
is
roll.
at the end is who wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the current roll is, and it's 3 dice.
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll my first dice for me and my first dice for Gorbok.
Okay. I'm rolling my first dice for Nessa. Oh frick! It fell.
And then send them to Helly in private. There we go.
All right, and now we'll just start from the top of the order here.
So I didn't actually need 3d6. I just need 1d6.
I mean, you can do that, or you can have the 3 in front of you. I usually have enough d6 to have the 3 in front of me.
Okay, so
It's
starting
easier
from
to
the top,
visualize.
top of the list. Bella, are you going to stay in the round or are you leaving?
I'm staying.
Okay. X, are you staying or are you leaving?
I'm staying.
All right.
But I also would like to. I would also like to vibe check Bella. So it's Gorbak is going to vibe check. Both of us are going to stay in, but Gorbak is going to vibe check Bella to get a feel for how high her roll is.
Okay.
And you can
that...
and then Bella can either slide do a deception check or a persuasion check if she wants.
And what is this against?
This is against. So I make an insight check, and she makes a deception check.
Okay. Or
to try
or persuasion.
and throw me off, essentially. Yeah, or persuasion if she thinks she's high. So because she's staying in, it's a persuasion check, I think. If she's actually high.
Okay, so that's a roll.
Bella?
Leave them for a couple more minutes.
Why can I not find...
Your persuasion?
Yeah,
Or deception?
there it is. 16?
Yeah, you beat me. So you get to tell me, you get to just straight up lie to me which one it is. Do you have a good card or a bad card?
I have a good card.
High or low?
High.
Okay. You got a good card. Okay.
All right, and Daly. Are you staying or are you leaving?
I'ma stay. Now I'ma stay in bed.
All right, and now we roll again.
Nope, that third one was not a dice. Well,
Also, hi, Sir DB. Welcome to D&D Shenanigans.
We're playing cards with dice. It's 3 rounds. It's basically a 3 card rounds. All right. Top of the round, Bella.
I didn't get your numbers. I didn't get your numbers, X.
Oh, sorry.
So waiting on getting yours, and I was gonna start at the top of the round.
No, sorry. My brain. I thought I already sent it. I'm terrible. Kill me now.
All right, Valk, you staying or leaving?
Staying.
All right, X.
Slayer is out. Gorbak is gonna stay.
All right, and Daly.
Nessa's gonna angrily throw down her card and be like, I'm out.
Okay.
How bad was it, Daly?
Her card was a 2.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled a 1, but her card was a 2.
What were both of your cards? What did you have?
Well, but we still have another round.
Well, no. When you're out, you're out.
Oh.
You put your money in, and then once you're out, you're out on that hand, and then you do another hand.
We're essentially
I got a
playing
4 and a
poker.
2. I got a 4 and a 2. I really doubted I was gonna get much higher.
I got a
Or
1
4
and a
one,
2,
I should say.
Daily. I got a
Oh,
1 and a
fuck.
2. That's why Slayer's
Nope.
out.
Eh.
It's
You know,
awesome.
All right.
Nessa knew the strategy. Just that she seems to beat all of the other militia guys who are obviously probably not as good as cards.
Final round.
Oh. Jeebus crust.
The one
Jesus Christ.
time
Okay,
Google Dice
and
likes me.
and
Oh,
Valk,
you're
are you
using
staying?
Google Dice? Nice.
Are you staying or are you leaving?
I am staying.
All right. Gorbak, are you
Gorbak
staying or
looks-
leaving?
Gorbak looks Bella directly in the eyes. He's just gonna look at her. And he's going to, I'm gonna roll an insight check. He's gonna size her up and see if she's looking good or looking just kind of faking it.
All right, roll a
Okay.
deception or persuasion check.
Oh.
There, Valk.
That's a 2.
He got a 6, so
Both not good rolls.
yeah, I rolled a 2 and now it's a 6.
I have a -1 in both of those.
Yeah,
Okay,
It was
so with that, I would assume that since you won, I can say if this is a high or a low. Correct?
Yes.
So the
Higher or
last
lower
roll
than-
was high.
So the last roll was high and the one before was high. He kind of looks at you for a second and goes, "You in this hand, sweetheart," and puts the cards down.
Actually, they're not
He
actually
had-
betting; they're just playing for
he
fun,
had-
but-
Yeah, he had a 2, a 4, and a 1.
Not good.
And
I
then,
had a
and in the
a
background, you see Steve exchange cash with bartender with Leo because he bet against the little one winning.
I like to
Bella
imagine
has
a
a-
bunch of people are paying the bartender right now.
Bella lays down her cards, and she has a 6, a 5, and another 6.
Jesus
Like,
Christ!
oh yeah, she's won.
Yep.
She has a full house. She puts down the full house. It's just like, ta-da.
All right, and with
All right.
And,
With the
she's
conclusion of that
still
card
kind of
game-
a little iffy on what's going on. She's just like, I think these are good.
I need
Nessa brings them to Miss Martha's Inn.
with the round of the card game, that round of the card game ending, I need Soul, X, Gorbak, and Daily to make me another con save.
Wait,
Alright.
why is Essence taking a con save?
Because you went and stole your bottle of wine.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
Did she actually
You're
steal
drinking.
any of it?
You're, I mean, she said
No,
she was gonna get drunk after she stole it. She's not drinking it. And you don't
Wow.
need to make it.
I was talking off of the stuff that what's his face gave me, the not so drunk stuff.
Yeah, she
Okay.
said she was getting the bottle for Nan
0.08.
specifically.
Yeah, 0.08.
Okay,
I got a 16 on the con save.
okay.
I got 2 21s. Different modifiers, but I got 2 21s.
Okay, so that round of drinks went by just fine for everybody.
Didn't feel a thing.
And again, you see a couple of patrons, this time a couple of the older ones, exchange money with Liam, the barmaid, because they thought at least one of the adventuring party was going to pass out drunk, and none of them have yet.
I like to imagine that the rest of the night we just sit and drink and play cards, and we don't get super drunk, even though we're drinking like we're super drunk. We just get mildly tipsy to a little bit drunk, and then head home with the kiddos.
Here, you know what? For the three of us, for the three who are drinking heavily, which would be X twice and Daily. Let's start with just X first. High or low?
Hi.
All right,
High.
15. You are tipsy.
That's fair.
All right, Gorbak, high or low?
Hi again.
That's a 9. He's buzzed.
Fair enough.
Daily, high or low?
You know what? Third time's the charm. Let's go high.
That's a 13. You are tipsy.
Cool.
I was going essentially saying who was tipsy, who was buzzed.
Husband got a little bit buzzed, but he's still functional buzzed.
Yes, he actually has he has advantage on strength-based checks.
So Grandma, what are you playing with Nessa's mom when we come back?
They're playing Catan.
Settlers of Catan.
The card version. Because there is indeed a card version.
And
of
it's a
Settlers
good
of Catan.
version. I like the card version.
Did Essence get her bottle, by the way?
Make me a stealth check.
With advantage because you're turning invisible.
I had a +2 because Liam would have let you anyway.
Don't give me the +2, then I feel bad.
Yeah.
Cause that would be a 30. I have a
He's not
plus
even there.
10 to my stealth, guys.
You're not even there. You're gone.
That's great. I love
He didn't even know that time.
He didn't even know. He didn't even know.
You put the coins in his pocket with a note and he didn't notice.
He was turning a blind eye and still didn't notice.
All right. So,
Yeah.
because it is getting close to that time where we typically end, because it's getting late, we will wrap up our time here in Oakhurst, I think is what this is called. My brain's kind of going burr. Yes,
Oakhurst.
Oakhurst. Where then next week we will go to the dojo, and then we will go pay a visit to Valk's home. Then
Oh,
after
yes.
it's all said and done, we have the reward ceremony.
Beautiful.
That took much
We're-
longer than I thought.
I'm sorry.
No, that was
Eh.
me especially. Me especially.
It happens. Well,
Yeah.
Pretty good puppies.
but yep. And during the reward ceremony, y'all are gonna get paid finally.
Woo!
Because I know that that's been the driving force for a handful of you. Just want to get paid.
I mean,
But
Ness was here for the fun of it, but she needs money for alcohol.
all right.
Also,
So
Gorbok's gonna be there during the negotiations with the dwarves.
all right. But that's gonna do it for us here tonight. We'll be back next week with finale part 2. So I hope to see you guys all there. Hopefully we'll all be there next week and we won't have another 3-week break. But these things happen. So everybody, have a great one. Say bye, everyone.
Everyone turns to look at each
Bye,
other because all of
everyone.
us have been absent during the 3-week break.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.